Okay, hello everyone. Let me make sure we are okay. Just give me one quick second here, folks. I think we're good. Just give me one quick second here. And I think we are live. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another NHL live play-by-play at the End-to-End Hockey channel. In today's video, we have potentially the final game of the conference finals, and that could potentially set us up for a date on Tuesday for the start of the Stanley Cup Final. We have Hurricanes Habs Game 5. If the Habs win this one, we will have a Game 6 on Sunday. If the Hurricanes win this one, they win, I think, Prince of Wales trophy. They hoist the Eastern Conference title trophy, and they'll be going to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since 2006, with an opportunity to win their second ever Stanley Cup. So this will be very interesting. It'll be a very interesting game. I thank you all for tuning in. If you guys are, leave a like, subscribe, and comment. We are ever so close to 700 subscribers. I think we're 300 or 400 subscribers away from 700. So if you guys are in the chat and you haven't subscribed yet, definitely do so. If we can hit the 700 subscriber mark during this live stream, that would just be fantastic. So hope you guys are here and good to see. Once again, I'm just going to really quickly make sure everything is up and running, and then we'll discuss some things. We're still about 5 minutes away from the start of the hockey game, so you guys are not missing a thing. Nice to see you in the chat, Marshall. I do appreciate you for tuning in. Just give me one quick sec here, folks. Let's see. Let's go over here for a sec. Just give me 1 minute here, folks. I'm just going to try and get some things going. We will also discuss some future videos that we have coming up. So just give me one quick sec here, folks. Let me make sure everything is going good. It looks like everything is good. Okay, so that is a fantastic. Let me put this over here. Hold on a minute here, folks. Let's put this over here. That looks good. I think the actual quality of the live stream is also not too bad tonight, so that's good. Hopefully it stays that way throughout the entire live stream. But that is now up, so that is good. And yeah, so we are here to stream the live play-by-play of Canes and Habs. And this is going to be a very interesting game. We have two potential scenarios that could happen. The NHL did announce the schedule for the Stanley Cup Final. So if tonight's game ends, when the Carolina Hurricanes win, and they do win the Eastern Conference tonight, Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, which I would be live streaming, would be on Tuesday. Now, if the Habs win, there would be a Game 6 on Sunday. I don't plan on streaming the Game 6 on Sunday if there is one. But if there is a Game 7 and the Habs do win this game tonight and the game on Sunday, then I would be streaming a Game 7 on Tuesday. So very likely I will be streaming a game on Tuesday, whether it's Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final or Game 7 of the second round of the conference final. However, in the odd scenario where the Habs lose in 6, they force a Game 6 and then lose on Sunday, then my next live stream after tonight would be on Thursday for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. So it's most likely going to be on Tuesday, but it could potentially be on Thursday, depending on how the next few games go. This could be potentially the last game of the Western Conference Final. So very interesting to note there. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the chat below. Who are you predicting to win this game tonight? Is it going to be the Hurricanes? Are they going to finally lift the Eastern Conference Final trophy after entering this year 1-16 in their last 4 trips to the Eastern Conference? Or will the Habs force a Game 6 back in Montreal? I think it could go either way. And once again, if you guys haven't already, hit the subscribe button down below. We are ever so close to 700 subscribers, so if you guys can, and subscribe, and hit that subscribe button if you like the content, and get us to 700 subscribers by the end of the live stream, that would be fantastic. So very interesting note there, we are just about to get set for the start of the game between the Hurricanes and the Habs. Once again, they're just showing, I think they're about to start Anthem. So you're still not missing a thing. I do appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Once again, my next live stream will either be Tuesday for, depending on how things go, Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final or Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, or potentially on Thursday for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final if the series ends in 6. So those are going to be my next live stream. Once again, this game is in Carolina. Carolina does have their lone loss in the postseason to Montreal in this building. Actually, a game that I live streamed in Game 1. So we'll see if the Habs are able to force their way to another road victory, or if this is going to be Carolina's game to lose. So it'll be very interesting to note there. The teams have entered the ice. So anthems are just a moment away. and then we shall have the start of the Eastern Conference. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on some of the recent videos I did. I have currently 2 off-season preview videos in the works that should either come out later tonight or potentially, if it takes a little bit longer to edit, then tomorrow morning. We're going to have an off-season preview video for the Stars and the Penguins, and then we're also going to have an off-season preview video for the Oilers and the Bruins. I think you guys really like those ones. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the ones we posted earlier this week. Well, if the NHL has script, power rankings. We're going to have our last power rankings video next week. On top of that, my second post-draft lottery mock draft. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on all of those videos that we've done recently down in the comment section below. And I really do appreciate all of you guys for tuning in for all those things and getting us to, I think, 3 or 4 subscribers away from 700. So I do appreciate that, you guys. And if you guys haven't subscribed yet, definitely do subscribe. If we can hit 700 subscribers during the live stream, that would be just a fantastic stuff. So we shall see. Once again, they're just showing Brindamore, and they're showing some of the players on the benches here as they're just about to start for this game. Once again, we're going to be with you here for the next couple of hours. I'm pretty sure I charged my camera this time, and I think the Wi-Fi is a little bit better than it has in the last few live streams, so hopefully we don't run into any hitches. I will try and let you guys know if there's something askew, but I think we are pretty good here tonight. So very interesting note there. The anthems are just about to get on their way, and then we should have the start of the Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. So it's going to be a very interesting game. I could see this one go either way. The Habs have been looking a lot better on the road than at home. I think there's a very likely scenario where the Habs win tonight but lose in Game 6. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to force it to a Game 7, but yeah, Carolina plays such a suffocating style of defensive hockey that I could see the Hurricanes just lock everything down, get a couple of goals, and win this thing here tonight. Sort of like what happened in that Vegas-Colorado Game 4, where Vegas just locked everything down and took it apart. So very interesting to note there. At the end of tonight, we'll either have a Game 6 scheduled for Sunday, or we will have a preview of the Stanley Cup between Carolina and Vegas. And no offense, because Vegas is my favorite team, and I don't mind Carolina being in the Stanley Cup Final after all the adversity they've had to go through over the past number of years. But that's going to be one heck of a boringish Stanley Cup Final, not because the teams aren't exciting, but because of the playoff style of hockey they play. They're both teams who play really sound defensively, and they don't allow a lot of chances. So if that is the Stanley Cup Final, and I'm going to be streaming at least 3, if not 4 of them, at least not 4 or more of them, then we're going to have a lot of low-end scoring, 2-1, 3-2 games in the Stanley Cup Final. Maybe we'll see a couple of shootouts. I don't expect it, but yeah, if the Carolina Hurricanes do advance, it's probably going to be low-event, low-scoring hockey in the Stanley Cup Final. So it'll be very interesting note there. I wouldn't mind the Hurricanes going over to try and get the Stanley Cup. They've been trying to get past the Eastern Conference Final for so long. Would love to see them finally exercise their demons. But secondary, on top of that, the Canes and the Knights will both be going for their second ever Stanley Cup in franchise history, which I think will be pretty cool. I always love to see teams win their first ever Stanley Cup finals and win their first ever Stanley Cups, like Florida and Vegas a couple of years back. I love to see them win their first Stanley Cups. A ways back, St. Louis and Washington when they won in 18 and 19. Love to see that. I'm hoping that, and while we didn't get a first-time potential Stanley Cup winner in this year's Stanley Cup Final, Carolina Vegas, who have only won 1 cup, wouldn't be a terrible thing, and I wouldn't mind that series going either way, but I will be cheering for Vegas given the fact they are my favorite team. So very interesting note there. Looks like the anthems are just about to finish up, and we should be good to go for the start of the first period. So once again, we will either be streaming Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final on Thursday or on Tuesday, or Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final on Tuesday, and that would be my next live stream. So probably not going to do one if there is a Game 6 on Sunday, but like we said, there's a very likely possibility, and like I said, I'm definitely going to do at least 3 to 4 Stanley Cup Final games, depending on how long the series goes, maybe 5 or 6. But I'm at least going to try and do 3 or 4 Stanley Cup Final games. So we'll see how everything goes there. But we do plan on doing a couple of them. So if the Canes win tonight, the Stanley Cup Final will start on Tuesday. If the Habs win tonight, then regardless of if it finishes in the Game 6 or a Game 7, the Stanley Cup Final will start on Thursday. So very interesting to note there. Once again, they're just finishing up some stuff here in Carolina, and it's going to be interesting to see how this game finishes off. Once again, Carolina looking to advance to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since 2006, and the Montreal Canadiens looking to extend this series back to a Game 6 after losing 3 straight. It looks like we're just wrapping up anthems, and we're just about to get set here to go for the start of the Stanley Cup Final. So let's see here, folks. Just give me one quick second. Canes looking to win their 4th straight after losing the opener in the Eastern Conference Final. Habs looking to send this series back to a Game 6 in Montreal. Both teams are getting set at the center ice dot. Let's see here. You have Jakub Dobeš, who has a 2-1 record in the conference when facing elimination with a 1.91 GAA and 937 save percentage. So he's been really good when facing elimination. And then you've also got Frederik Andersen, who has an 8-9 record this year in his career in potential series clinching games with a 2.73 GAA and 874 save percentage. And it looks like we're about to get set here for the start of potentially the last game of the conference finals. They're just viewing a couple of the players on the ice here really closely with the camera. They're showing Keandre Miller on the bench. They're showing Jake Evans. And it looks like we're just about to get set here for the start of Game 5 of the Western Conference Final. It's Stankoven against Newhook in the faceoff dot, and Newhook wins it as the Habs open the scoring. And it's a 2-on-1 break for Carolina. Blake with Hall. Blake shoots! Stopped by Dobeš. Oh, that was nearly a disaster seconds into the game. Montreal's going to get possession in their own zone, and they send it into the neutral zone. Carolina gets it back and sends it deep into the Montreal zone. Very good stuff there. Oh, a huge hit on Matheson. He's going to lose the puck, but nice play from Dobson. Demidov turns it over. Canes forechecking really well here. And one of the Habs players are taken down. Carolina's got the point. Carolina with a shot. Stopped by Dobeš with the glove. A solid play there from Dobeš. If Dobeš is on one again tonight, I think the Habs do stand a really good chance of winning tonight's game. Once again, it was just a terrible play from Matheson, or actually a really brilliant play from Jackson Blake to poke check that puck away. And once again, he was on a 2-on-1 break with Taylor Hall, and I think it was actually blocked by Dobson with his stick just enough that it went over the net. So really good start here for the Hurricanes. Offenses on faceoff draw, Aho against Danault. And the faceoff dot for the Hurricanes and the Habs. And Aho's going to be waved out. Jarvis comes in to take the faceoff now for the Hurricanes. And Jarvis loses the puck. Hudson gets it on the boards. Hudson chipping it out, and the Canes keep the puck in. Now the Canes have a below the goal line. Sending it back. Aho with a shot. Stop. Rebound. And the puck's loose, and Dobeš is going to cover up the puck. So solid play there from Jakub Dobeš to negate any sort of problems. And the Montreal Canadiens are going to catch a little bit of a breather here, as there is going to be another offensive zone faceoff draw for the Carolina Hurricanes. So very interesting to note there. We do have another offensive zone faceoff draw here. 44 seconds into the first period. Carolina wins the offensive zone faceoff draw. Slavin with a shot stopped. And his D partner, I think that's Miller, is able to keep it in action. It's Chatfield. However, the Habs do get the puck back. A nice little play there. And Suzuki trying to get it to, I think that was Caulfield, but he couldn't. And now here come the Hurricanes. They just can't play the pass right. And Montreal's going to regain possession in their own zone. Interception. Carolina's got it. Ehlers with a shot. Stopped by Dobeš. Once again, some really good starts early on in this game for the Carolina Hurricanes. However, Dobeš has said no so far. Minute, 10 seconds so far into the first period, and it's still scoreless between the Hurricanes and the Habs. Once again, they're just showing Marnock with the interception. Gave it to Ehlers, and Ehlers' shot was deflected up and out of play by Jakub Dobeš. So really good stuff there from the young Habs keeper. Let's see here. Dobeš in his own zone, and the Habs do win it. Montreal chips it into the neutral zone. Canes bat away, but Montreal does keep possession. Here's Andersen around the boards, trying to get it, and he is able to get it. And Danault gets it back to Andersen. It's popped up into the to the point. Habs keep it in. It's Danault. Danault gets it to Andersen. Andersen cannot put that puck on goal. Montreal's got the puck again. It's Dobson with a shot. Tipped in front. Carolina's got below the goal line. Texier intercepts it. Trying to send it for Andersen, can't. However, Montreal holds the line. It's Lane Hudson. Hudson is going to be tripped up. Power play coming for the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal still cycling in the offensive zone. And now the puck goes all the way down the ice. And Montreal's going to be able to reset 6-on-5 attack here with a delayed penalty call in Carolina. Here comes Montreal into the offensive zone, drops it off. Dobson sends it across, however, they're going to have to redo. And they're in the neutral zone. Still a delayed penalty call here on the Canes. Montreal's got it. The Montreal Canadiens have it. Nice drop pass back to Noah Dobson. Dobson sends it across. And they're just going to play keep away at this point. 17:40 left in the first period. Still a scoreless game between the Hurricanes and the Habs. Dobson sends it to Suzuki. Suzuki. Suzuki into the offensive zone is going to be touched up by Hurricanes, and that's going to be a power play for the Habs. 2 minutes and 28 seconds into the first period. So a solid play there from the Montreal Canadiens. Once again, it is, I think, Svechnikov who wound up tripping up Lane Hudson. And that's what the penalty is for. Once again, Hudson tried to spin around Svechnikov. Svechnikov got a stick in the skates of Lane Hudson, and that's going to earn him a tripping call. Once again, fewest shots over a 3-game span in a series in NHL playoff history. This Canadiens team has only put up 43, which is the worst in playoff history. Just behind San Jose, who put up 44 in a series, and Washington, who put up 46 in a series. It's not great stuff there for Montreal. They have not been able to get a whole bunch of shots on goal. They're currently being outshot 3-0 early on by the Carolina Hurricanes. So things need to change if they want to have any shot at getting this lead. Suzuki is going to win the offensive zone faceoff draw. Carolina trying to clear it. They are able to. Martinook all the way down the ice. Montreal so far 1 for 8 in this series on the power play. So that's not great stuff there. Lane Hudson's got it. Sends it across to Caulfield. Caulfield drops it back, and here come the Montreal Canadiens. Nick Suzuki drops it off, and I think there might be an offside call, or is there penalty? Either way, stoppage in play for the Habs and the Hurricanes. Shots now down to 2-0 for the Hurricanes, so they took a shot off for the Carolina Hurricanes. The Hurricanes' penalty kill has been exceptional, 93.8% on the penalty kill so far in these playoffs for the Carolina Hurricanes. Really good stuff there. Stahl against Suzuki, and just outside the faceoff dot, Carolina is able to get the puck back in their own zone, and they send it all the way down the ice. Dobes stops it and leaves it for one of the Habs players. Here comes Montreal, entering the offensive zone. Caulfield sends it back into the neutral zone, and now here comes Nick Suzuki. Suzuki trying to get around everyone. Anderson poke checks it away. Turnover. That was a bad turnover from Frederik Anderson. Habs keep possession. Nice passing play. Demidov sends it around to Suzuki. Back to Demidov. Trying a shot. It goes wide. Caulfield's got it. Around the boards. Caulfield. He's got Suzuki and Slavkovsky to pass it to. He gets it to Lane Hudson. Hudson shoots, and his pass to Slavkovsky to Suzuki. Suzuki along the boards. Gets it back to the point to Hudson. Hudson to Demidov. Demidov stopping up. Looking for a passing lane. Gets it across. Nice pass. Lane Hudson. Slavkovsky shoots, and the rebound is pushed wide. Carolina trying to get their first 40 seconds left on the power play. And the puck goes a little bit awry. Montreal's going to have to go back to get it. Lane Hudson in his own zone is going to just stop up. Nice try there from the Montreal Canadiens, but both teams are changing, so they're just going to stay in their own zone. Texier, Doc, Newhook, Bolduc, Dobson are on the ice here for the Habs. Montreal's got it, sends it all the way into the offensive zone, and Montreal's going to stop it up. Nice play at the point, sends it deep for Texier. Texier gets it for, I think that was Bolduc. Texier to Newhook! Oh, and he couldn't hit the puck. Nice try there. He was fanned on it. Shots are now 3-1 in favor of the Hurricanes. And it's 15:20 left in the first period. Penalty is over. So that's a nice try there from the Habs, but good penalty kill from the Carolina Hurricanes. Dobson behind his own net, around the boards, gets it to neutralize, tipped into the offensive zone. Josh Anderson looking for a passing lane, gets it to Zach Bolduc. Bolduc looking for a passing lane now, gets it around the boards to Deneau. Deneau back to Anderson. Anderson back to Deneau. Deneau is going to shoot one on net, tipped in front, and it just goes wide. Nice try there from the Habs. Once again, they do keep possession in the offensive zone for a brief second, and now Carrier's got it out of the offensive zone. Huge hit from Anderson on Carrier. Carrier is able to get the puck back. Nikishin sends it to Robinson with a shot, stopped by Dalbesh with the glove, and that's going to bring up a stoppage in play. This will be an offensive zone faceoff draw for the Carolina Hurricanes. I think we might be going to a commercial break here. Let's see. Once again, it was a deflection in front that almost led to a goal on Frederick Anderson. Just showing some of the highlights. Slavkovsky almost put one on goal. Newhook just banned on that attempt to put that one in. That was a really good attempt for Alex Newhook, and he was definitely looking like he was frustrated with himself. Shots are 4-1 Hurricanes. Offenses on face-off draw for Carolina. And Carolina loses the draw. Montreal has it along the boards, sends it deep into the Carolina zone. Carolina's got the puck back in the neutral zone. Board battle, and Hall just dumps it deep into the Montreal zone. Dobesh leaves it for one of his defenders, and I think that is Caden Gooley, if I'm correct. Yes, it is Gooley, behind the net for the Montreal Canadiens. And Gooley's going to try and set something up here around the boards, tipped in by the Montreal Canadiens, and Montreal goes after it. Evans does get the puck free, tries to get to Newhook, can't. Evans around the boards, it goes over Newhook's stick, and now Carolina brings the puck out. Here come the Carolina Hurricanes. Stankoven stops it up, passes it across, and it's passed back to Slavin, and he just can't put the puck home. Nice try there. It might have actually been Walker, mind you. And now Montreal has it in the offensive zone. They just tip it in. Both teams making changes here. Miller, Newhook tries to go after him, but both teams change, and Carolina's going to be able to stop and slow possession down in their own zone. If you can, guys, leave a subscribe down below. We're trying to hit 700 subscribers before the end of the live stream, so if you haven't already and like the content, leave a subscribe. On top of that, we got the Carolina Hurricanes now breaking out of their own zone. Stahl into the offensive zone, onside, around the boards, trying to keep that puck in the offensive zone. Ehlers got it. Back in front, shoots! And stopped by Dobesh on Martinook. Nice try there. Montreal gets the puck out. Nice play there. Slavkovsky trying to get it deep into the offensive zone. Just going to loop it back. And here comes Suzuki into the offensive zone. Shoots! Oh, and that one was trying to deflect it in. Once again, nice stop from one of the Hurricanes players. I think this one might be an icing call, and it is. So Montreal's going to get a offensive zone face-off draw with 13:11 left in the first period. Still a scoreless game. So very interesting to note there. Something else that you guys probably do know, but if you haven't been watching the games, Carolina has scored first in each and every one of these games so far. They scored the opening goal before giving up 4 unanswered in game 1, scored the opening goal before going a little bit back and forth and winning in overtime in both game 2 and game 3, and then scored the opening goal, leading to a shutout win in game 4 last game. So Carolina looking to have it be 5 straight games that they've opened the scoring. And Montreal looking for the first opening goal of this series for themselves. New offenses on face-off draw. Montreal is able to win it for a little bit. Doc trying to keep possession is able to. He gets the puck. He loses the puck. Bolduc is able to get on it though. However, he's outnumbered. And Carolina is able to get the puck out. Solid play there. Turnover. Montreal in the offensive zone, but it's offside. Dang it. Valeno, I think, went offside just a little bit too early. So that's going to lead to a neutral zone face-off draw. Once again, just showing a really cool highlight here of Ehlers just putting it over the goal. And we go to a commercial break. Scoreless game so far between the Habs and the Canes. So you guys are not missing a thing. Now, once again, we will have another live stream or maybe a couple of live streams next week, depending on how things go. I'm hoping to do my next live stream will either be Game 7 of this series if Montreal is able to win the next 2 on Tuesday. Will either be Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, which if the Hurricanes win tonight would be on Tuesday, or in the scenario where Carolina wins the series in 6 games, our next live stream would be on Thursday for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, I think it was. So it's either going to be Thursday or Tuesday, our next live stream. So it will really depend on how this series goes and how long it goes. But we will be having at least one, if not a couple live streams. If we do have Game 1 on Tuesday for the Stanley Cup Final, I might do Game 3 or something like that later on in the week. If the Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final goes next week on Tuesday, then I'm also going to have Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final on Thursday. So probably 1 to 2, maybe 3 live streams this upcoming week, but we'll see. It depends on how this series goes. So very interesting note there. But if the Hurricanes do win tonight, the Stanley Cup Final starts on Tuesday. If the Habs win tonight, then regardless of if this series finishes in Game 6 or Game 7, the Stanley Cup Final will start on Thursday. So very interesting to note there, as we are getting very, very close to the end of the 2026 season. We're going to be crowning a champion in about the next couple of weeks. So very interesting note there. And I do expect things to start picking up off-season-wise. We do have a couple of things that happened over the past couple of days, but I expect more and more off-season things, signings, trades, things like that to start happening. So stay up to date with the channel, as I should be keeping up to date with all breaking news and stuff like that. So if you guys want to keep up to date with the channel, I really do suggest you do so. Once again, neutral zone face-off draw here. We're back from the commercial break. So there'll be a neutral zone faceoff draw just outside the Hurricanes' blue line. Habs do win it, but they turn it over. Martinook trying to get away from one of the Habs players is able to. Dobish throws out of his net to play the puck. Nice play there. Montreal gets the puck out of their own zone. Smart play there. And now it's tipped in front to Noah Dobson. In. Shoots! And that one's going to be stopped by Freddie Anderson. And now the Hurricanes get the possession back, tip it into the neutral zone, and chase after it. Once again, this isn't going to be enough for icing. And Matheson takes away from Stahl. Habs do gain possession in their own zone. And Slavkovsky loses it. And now it's Jarvis below the goal line. Trying to get in front to Svechnikov. Can't. And now Montreal trying to get the puck out. They're able to, but they can't spring themselves on the breakaway. Jarvis making some moves, but he's only able to dump the puck in. Dobson's got it. Sends it around the boards. Carolina's on their first. Aho trying to center the puck. It's up in the air, gloved down by Slavkovsky, and the puck is sent to Texier. In comes Alex Texier, looking for a break here, trying to get around Keandre Miller. Is not able to. Canes do gain possession in their own zone, and now they send it all the way down to the Montreal zone. Not enough for icing, though. Montreal is going to stop up below the goal line. Matheson looking for a passing play. And actually, that's Gooley, looking for a passing play here. Just behind Jakub Dobish's net. Shots are 5-2 Hurricanes, 11.5 in the first. Gooley around the boards, tipped into the offensive zone. Montreal chases after it. And actually, this is going to be an icing call. There was no tip on the play. So there will be an offensive zone face-off draw here for the Carolina Hurricanes. Once again, if you guys haven't already, leave a subscribe down below if you like the stream, if you like the content. And we're trying to hit 700 subscribers before the live stream ends. We are only a couple subscribers away, so if you haven't already and like the content, leave a subscribe. I'll let you guys thoughts on this game down in the chat below. Canes do win the offensive zone face-off draw, but Habs are able to clear it. Nice play there from Montreal, and they get back in their own zone. Deneau trying to set some things up here. Philippe Deneau going right through center ice and gets the puck into the offensive zone. Deneau gets the puck back, tries a sharp angle shot on goal, and was not able to get that puck in. Carolina's now gone in the neutral zone. Taylor Hall enters the offensive zone, drops it off for, I think, Blake, and Hall goes back in after it. Hall on the boards, sends it back to Gostisbehere. Across, Nikishin! Shot stopped. Nice play there. And now the Habs are able to tip it out of the zone, but just back into the neutral zone. Carolina's got it back, and they got numbers. Blake to Stankoven, trying to put one in net. Hall scores! The Hurricanes' best line in hockey over the first 2 rounds has put the Carolina Hurricanes up 1-0. I don't know if it was Stankoven or Hall, but one of them put that puck in. The Lenovo Center is buzzing, and the Carolina Hurricanes have scored the first goal in every single game in this series. Hurricanes lead this game 1-0. What a start here for the Carolina Hurricanes. They had some really good pressure. They've been able to weather a couple of Montreal storms. And once again, Blake was able to get the puck back. They had numbers, got to Stankoven. And I don't know if it was Stankoven or Hall who put that puck home. Either way, Carolina Hurricanes are up 1-0. I think it might have actually been Hall on that second attempt. So Carolina's got the first goal of the game yet again, and the Hurricanes are up 1-0. They're shooting the Habs 7-3. It's not looking good for the Montreal Canadiens earlier in this game. Once again, is there going to be a coach's challenge here? Let's see. Yes, Montreal is challenging it. I don't know what they challenge it for here. Let's see if we can figure out. They're challenging for goaltender interference. Okay. It did look like Stankoven sort of ran into Dobish a little bit. Very interesting to note there. Let's see. Stankoven ran into Dobish a little bit, so I can see why they might be challenging for goalie interference. I'm not sure if he's making that save either way. But yeah, Hall is going to be credited with that goal. It was definitely Hall who put it in, but we'll see if this one stands as Martin St. Louis is elected to challenge the play for goalie interference. I can see why he'd do that. I'm just not sure if it was the right call or not. So yeah, I think it's trending towards no goal. The refs are still looking at it, at least on my feed. Once again, Stankoven looking for it, and Hall put it home. But yeah, Stankoven definitely ran into Dobish's blocker, so this thing might be coming back. Once again, he definitely ran into Jakub Dobeš. So after the coach's challenge, it is going to be ruled no goalie interference. So the goal does count. The Hurricanes will open the scoring and be up 1-0. I thought some goalie interference potentially, but yeah, very interesting stuff there. Taylor Hall opens the scoring, and the Hurricanes go to the power play with 10:43 left in the first period. So very interesting to note there. Unsuccessful challenge from Martin St. Louis. And yeah, really good drive to the net from Taylor Hall. He was able to find that loose puck, put it right underneath Jakub Dobeš's pads. There might have been a little bit of goalie interference there, but obviously not enough to overturn the call on the ice, which was a good goal. And that's going to lead the Montreal Canadiens to giving up the 5th consecutive game they've given up the first goal of the game. So that's not great stuff there. So we'll see how things go. Once again, I'll be very interested to see how the rest of this game plays out. Stankoven and Blake do get the assist, and there's now a power play for the Carolina Hurricanes. Montreal wins the neutral zone faceoff draw and just sends it in. Anderson's got the puck. Gostisbehere's got it. Gostisbehere sends it to Ehlers. Ehlers, making a couple people miss, into the offensive zone, sends it around for, I think that's Svechnikov. Gets it back to Gostisbehere. Gostisbehere sends it to Ehlers. Ehlers with a shot. Stopped. Rebound. Jarvis has it. Back to Gostisbehere. Back to Ehlers. Ehlers looking for Jarvis to Gostisbehere. Back to Jarvis. He can't handle the pass. Goes around the boards. Now it's stopped by Svechnikov. Sends it back for Gostisbehere. He's got some space. He fans on the shot. Montreal's able to get the puck, but not out. Here come the Hurricanes. Aho sends it around the boards to Svechnikov. Svechnikov looking for that pass, can't, and now he's able to get the puck back. Now it's Jarvis below the goal line, and now it's Svechnikov trying to keep that line, and he is able to for a second, but Montreal's able to get that puck off the board battle and send it all the way down the ice. So very interesting to note there. Gostisbehere's got it now in the defensive zone. Nice play there. And the Hurricanes have some numbers. Taylor Hall sends it back to the point, looking for a passing lane. It's Stankoven with a shot, stopped by Jakub Dobeš. So very interesting to note there. And the Hurricanes looking pretty dang good early on. And they have 44 seconds left on this power play, outshooting Montreal 8-3, only about 10 minutes into this first period. Montreal cannot buy a shot to save themselves right now. They need to start putting pucks on there if they're going to have any sort of chance to come back in this game, and they're just not being able to right now. Once again, 9:26 left, first period, 44 seconds left on the Hurricane power play, offensive zone face-off draw for Carolina, and they win it. Miller sends it across to Stankoven, back to one of the Hurricanes players, and Miller gets it back. Miller, he's got Blake as an option, and Miller is going to just wait at the point, and he's going to shoot on goal, and that one goes wide. I think it was blocked, and the Hurricanes get the puck and send it all the way down the ice. Solid play there for Montreal. Miller's got it now. In the defensive zone as the Hurricanes come through center ice again. Into the offensive zone. A nice little chip feed there. Dobeš trying to get the puck back. Can't. And now Montreal does have the puck. Evans trying to get there shorthanded. Can't. And now it's a turnover. Montreal has it at, I think, Alex Newhook, but he was pushed off the puck. He was triple teamed at that point, and now Carolina's got numbers the other way. Hall's got it, gets it across, shoots, and that one stopped. Penalty is over, but Hurricanes still have pressure. Here come the Hurricanes around the boards, and it's turned over. Montreal may have a little bit of a break here. The Hurricanes are able to get that line change just in time. Backhand shot from Bolduc, and that one goes up and over the glass. So that's going to bring up another stoppage in play. Miller and Bolduc taking a couple of shots at each other. So very interesting to note there. Once again, the goal from Taylor Hall currently has the Hurricanes up 1-0, and it looks like we're going to a commercial break here. So you're not missing a thing, and the Hurricanes have opened the score, and they're up 1-0, trying to end the game tonight. So yeah, Canada's last hope for a Stanley Cup Final, for a Stanley Cup coming back to Canada, not looking overly good right now. Now, once again, the Stanley Cup will come back to Canadian soil because there's a lot of players on the remaining teams who are Canadian, but there will be still no Canadian teams having won the Stanley Cup, it looks like, for quite a bit of time if this score holds up throughout the rest of the game. So Yeah, very interesting to note there. It'll be a very interesting Stanley Cup final if it is Hurricanes versus Knights. Like, I think both teams have a really good shot. They have both suffocating defenses, as shown in these conference finals. And I think it'll be very low scoring 2-1, 3-2 games if that was a Hurricanes Knights Stanley Cup final. And once again, I wouldn't mind that Stanley Cup final because it'd be two teams looking for their second Stanley Cup in franchise history. The Hurricanes have had a long stint of not having very much success beyond the second round, and the Knights are my favorite team. So, like, that wouldn't be a terrible Stanley Cup final. I still think having a new team who have the potentiality to win their first ever Stanley Cup, like a Buffalo or Minnesota, would have been better. But I wouldn't mind that Stanley Cup final just be very boring, low event sort of hockey. So it'll be interesting to see if the Hurricanes are able to hold on to this lead. We do still have, I think, just under 15 minutes left in this game, so still far from over. But yeah, really solid start here for the Carolina Hurricanes. That line, the second line of Logan Stankoven, Taylor Hall, and Jackson Blake has just done so much damage to the Sens, to the Habs, and to the Flyers. So very interesting to note there. Once again, Stankoven has 8 goals in the 2026 playoffs, which is first in the Carolina Hurricanes. So very interesting to note there. Habs win the offensive zone, draw, and they just can't keep it in. Carolina gets it, sends it into the neutral zone, and here comes Carolina. A little bit of a break here from Martinook. However, Dolbich out of his net to play it, puts it around the boards, and Carolina keeps in the zone. Stahl below the net. Trying to get away from, I think that's Suzuki, is able to for a second, Stahl back to the point, and the Hurricanes with a shot on goal. That one goes wide. Carolina's got it. Suzuki gets it around to Struble, but it's turnover. Shot. Carolina. Rebound. And Dobich stops it. Loose puck. And Dobich is going to cover up on the pads. Oh, that was very close to being 2-0 Carolina. Once again, a couple of really good whacks at it from the Hurricanes. For a second, didn't look like Dobich knew where the puck was, but he was able to find it, and he was able to cover it up. So that's a huge play there from Jakub Dobich. Once again, it was, I think, Martinook right in front on the doorstep, and Dobich was able to stop it up. Once again, Suzuki with a terrible pass that went right to, I think it was Stahl, and Martinook with a couple of good attempts to try and put home the rebound, but just wasn't able to. So very good stuff there. Once again, offenses on face-off draw here for the Canes, as they're out shooting Montreal now 10-3. So yeah, Carolina's definitely had a lot of shots on goal so far. Gostisbehere sends into the neutral zone. And now Carolina's got a puck again. Stankoven gets it to Blake. Blake in, shoots, and that one stopped. Stankoven got it again. However, he leaves it off for no one, and Montreal's going to get the puck back. Tipped in by Jake Evans. And nice play there from Jake Evans. Sends it around. Carolina dumps it deep into the Montreal zone. And this one is sent back into the Carolina zone. Carolina quickly intercepts it, and they're up ice. Svechnikov, 1-on-4, shoots. This glove stopped by Jakub Dobich, and that's going to bring up another face-off in the Montreal Canadiens zone. 7:43 left in the second period, and it is currently in the first period, and it's currently a 1-0 Carolina Hurricanes lead. Once again, if you guys haven't already, leave a subscribe down below if you like the stream, if you like the content. We are a few subscribers away from 700, so if you can, definitely do. I'd love to hit 700 subscribers while I'm doing this live stream. So if you guys can, definitely do subscribe. On top of that, we do have an offensive zone face-off draw here for the Hurricanes, and they get a puck back to the point is Keandre Miller, who sends it around the boards. Miller does have it. Point blast shot tipped in front and trying to get it, and the puck is and the net is jarred loose off of its moorings. I don't know if this is a penalty. Looks like Svechnikov might be getting an interference penalty here. I don't know if this is goalie interference or just an interference call, but it looks like Montreal's going to be heading to the power play. We'll see what exactly the call is here. Once again, Svechnikov's the one who took the puck off its moorings. So let's see here. Svechnikov charged the net, and I don't know about that one. It looked more like Dobich ran to Svechnikov rather than Svechnikov ran to Dobich. I don't know about that one. It is a penalty, so Svechnikov is going to the box. But yeah, I don't know about that one. Like, that one was probably a little bit of more on the iffy side. But yeah, Svechnikov for goalie interference. Habs on the power play will have a shot to get back into this game, now being outshot 12-3. Habs have the offenses on face-off draw, as you usually do on a face-off. And Suzuki wins it back to the point. Lane Hudson gets it around for Demidov. However, Chatfield gets there first and sends it back into the neutral zone. Lane Hudson sends it for Suzuki. Suzuki enters the offensive zone, gets the puck back, and he's going to be stopped in the corner. Board battle, Caulfield around the boards to Demidov. Demidov on the far wall, trying to keep that puck in, but is not able to. Martinuk one-on-one, just going to dump it down, go off on a line change. Montreal has to stop up in their own zone. Lane Hudson's got it. Hudson, he's got some speed, gets it to Caulfield. Caulfield sends it back to Nick Suzuki. Nick Suzuki into the offensive zone. Gets the puck back and sends it around the boards all the way down the ice. Carolina chasing in after it. Dobish stops up behind his own net and is just going to leave it for one of his Habs teammates. And now here comes, I think that's Lane Hudson. Yep, he drops it off. And the Montreal Canadiens second unit's now out there for the Habs. Texier dumps it in. Doc around the boards, trying to center it, can't. Texier gets the puck back again. And now Doc around the boards to Texier. Texier back to Doc, tip to Newhook. Newhook along the boards, looking for some sort of passing lane. And he can't find anything, gets it to Anderson. Anderson to Dobson with a shot. That one goes wide. Doc trying to keep the puck in, cannot. And the Hurricanes clear the zone. There is now 30 seconds left on the power play. Habs trying to get something, 5.5 left in the first period. And Montreal's got the puck into the offensive zone. Nice play there. And Montreal enters. Nice play there. Making some moves I think that's Alex Texier. However, he just turned it over. Carolina's got the puck off the boards. Cut in by Texier. Nice play there. Doc trying to get that loose puck and is pressed up against the boards. Gets it to Newhook. And Carolina is able to get the puck back. And now here come the Hurricanes. Potential 2-on-1 break for the Carolina. Penalty is overshoots. And that's a stop by Jakub Dobesh. Smart play there from Dobesh to cover it up. And with under 5 minutes left, now back to 5-on-5 hockey, we're going to get, it looks like, a commercial break. Let's just see here. Once again, Robinson with a nice shot on Jakub Dobesh, but he's able to stand tall. And we are going to a commercial break, so you are not missing a thing. So once again, if you guys haven't already, like Marshall said, hit the like, subscribe button if you guys like the content. And if we can hit 700 subscribers during the live stream, really does appreciate it. Now, once again, we are still about 5 minutes away from intermission. I will have the intermission report, and then we'll have a couple of other things to talk about during the intermission. So I will definitely hope you guys stay tuned for the intermission report. We're in a commercial break, so you're not missing anything. Once again, if the Hurricanes win tonight, the Stanley Cup Final between Carolina and Vegas will start on Tuesday. If the Habs force at least a Game 6, Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final between either one of those two teams and Vegas will start on Thursday. So either one of those two dates will be the start of the Stanley Cup Final, and I will be streaming Game 1, whether it be on Tuesday or on Thursday. I will be streaming Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. So very interesting to note there. Once again, Habs are going to be trying to hold on and trying to salvage their season and force a Game 6 back in Montreal on Sunday. And Carolina is going to be trying to end the series here on home ice. And after 4 straight Eastern Conference Final exits back in 09, 19, 23, and 25, where they were combined 1-16 record in those 3 or 4 Eastern Conference Final appearances since they went to the Stanley Cup Final in 1-06. The Carolina Hurricanes looking back to go back to the Stanley Cup Final. Once again, the Habs are just once again, the stream's just showing some of the Habs comebacks from the 2021 playoffs when they came back from down 3-1 in their series and beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. Very similar situation to what this was. But then again, the Toronto Maple Leafs, not the Carolina Hurricanes. So very interesting. Their shots are currently 13-3 in favor of the Carolina Hurricanes. So very interesting to note there. 4:57 left in the first period. 1-0 right now for the Carolina Hurricanes. And let's see here. The Hurricanes will lose the draw, but there's going to be a redo here. So once again, both teams stay in the faceoff dot. Veleno against Stankoven in the faceoff. Once again, the Habs are 3-20 in series record when trailing 3-1. Canes win the offensive zone faceoff draw, sent around the boards. Carolina is able to keep it. It's Hall. He's got some space. The Stankoven shoots and scores! Logan Stankoven with a bullet of a shot. This line is on fire. Hurricanes lead 2-0. 4:48 left in the first period. This is starting to get reminiscent of Game 4, where the Hurricanes just ran away with it. Stankoven with a beauty. What a shot, and Carolina's up 2-0. Unreal shot from Carolina. Let's see here. Once again, Hall had below the goal line, was able to get away from a couple of Habs players, and Stankoven just ripped one. Once again, it's been one of the best lines in the playoffs, especially for the Carolina Hurricanes, and that was just an absolute beautiful shot from Logan Stankoven. So it's now 2-0 Carolina Hurricanes, and we're not even out of the first period yet. So yeah, that ain't good news there for the Montreal Canadiens. Stankoven has 9 goals in the 2026 playoffs. So once again, Stankoven's been fantastic for that team. Has a goal and assist in this game. So very interesting to note there. Montreal behind their own net. 4:30 left in the first period. Tries a stretch feed. They go after it. Anderson below his own goal line. The assist on the Stankoven goal to Hall and the Kitchen. So very good stuff there. Montreal has the puck in their neutral zone. They're able to keep it only for a second. Here comes Carolina again. However, they turn it over, and now Montreal in the neutral zone. Nice drop pass there. Demidov has it. Shoots! And that one stopped. Demidov is going to be hit in the boards. And Carolina's now got the puck. Nice play there. And Carolina's Jarvis lost an edge there. Gooley has in his own zone. And King Gooley's just going to stop up and wait for things to settle down. Under 4 left in the first period. 2-0 Carolina. Gooley around the boards, trying to get a stretch feed. It's tipped into the Carolina zone, sent back outside the Carolina zone, but goes right into the benches, and that'll bring up another face-off dot, I think, in the neutral zone. So either way, some very good stuff here. They're just showing the goal from Logan Stankoven again, which was an absolute rocket of a shot. That guy's got one wicked shot. So very good stuff there from Stankoven. He's having himself a series. He's having himself a playoffs. I gotta think if the Hurricanes do win the Stanley Cup, I know Anderson's going to be up there, but I gotta think that Stankoven's going to be one of the frontrunners for the Conn Smythe if the Hurricanes win the Stanley Cup. Montreal interception, shoots, and that one's stopped by Anderson. What a stop, Frederik Anderson. Shot from Dobson, and that one's blocked. Montreal keeps possession for a second. Caulfield trying to hold the zone, can't. Carolina's got the puck, and they send it into the neutral zone, and they get it to the red line, dump it into the Montreal end. Dobesh leaves it for one of the Habs players. And Matheson's got it to Dobson, and Dobson sends it down, and Frederik Anderson is able to whip it around, but Dobson holds the line. Nice play there. Cole Caulfield is going to be able to not hold the line, maybe a little bit of a breakaway. Robinson shoots, scores! Robinson, for the second consecutive game, the Carolina Hurricanes have a 3-0 lead in the first period. Eric Robinson, who's also had himself one heck of a conference finals, the breakaway goal has given the Carolina Hurricanes a 3-zip lead. My gosh, they just look unbeatable right now. Once again, just a nice flip stretch feed. So very reminiscent of that first goal in Game 4 of the Western Conference Final where McNabb flipped it up to Mark Stone. This one was flipped up to Eric Robinson, was able to control just enough to get the shot on goal and put the Carolina Hurricanes now up 3-0 in the first period of this Eastern Conference Final Game 5, where the Hurricanes have a shot to advance to the Stanley Cup Final. So very good stuff there. Canes lead 3-0. There's 3 minutes left here in the first period. Puck back in the Montreal Canadiens zone, and puck bounces onto Dobesh, and Dobesh is going to cover it up. Carrier and Anderson, the 2 assists on that goal. So really good stretch feed there from Carrier to Robinson. Frederik Anderson's got himself an assist, and oh boy, it's all Carolina right now. So really good stuff there from the Hurricanes. And the Lenovo Center is bumping as Carolina can field their first ever Stanley Cup Final appearance in 20 years. Not first ever, but first Stanley Cup Final appearance in 20 years. So very good stuff there for the Hurricanes. Habs having their own zone, trying to send something here. Gotta get something before the first period ends. Anderson's got it. Sends it across. And Hudson's tip to Deneau was just a little bit wide. Deneau gets it around the boards, trying to get something going here. Sent back to the point by the Montreal Canadiens. Back to below the goal line. Carolina intercepts, and they send it into the neutral zone. Montreal tips it back, and Carolina gets it deep into the Montreal zone, where the defenseman is for the Habs. Lane Hudson has it below his own goal line as he just stops up. Shots are now 16-4 in favor of the Carolina Hurricanes. Montreal, nice tip in, trying to beat out the icing. Bolduc looks like he did. And Bolduc is going to stop up. And here comes Jacob Slavin. Or actually it's Seth Jarvis, mind you. Jarvis and Aho fighting for it. Aho gets punched to the face by Goulet. I don't think there was a call there. Let's see. Very interesting stuff. Uh, Once again, Nikishin around the boards. Stops up below the goal line. Alex Nikishin is going to keep the puck, send it for Gostisbehere, who sends it right around for Stankoven, intercepted by Bolduc, and Bolduc sends it into the neutral zone. Montreal's got it, and the Habs turn it over. Carolina's got it back in their own zone. Nice stretch feed there from the Hurricanes into the neutral zone, and Jarvis sends it deep into the Montreal zone. Minute 15 seconds left here in the first period. Montreal looking for that ever-elusive first goal of the game here, as they're now down big 3-0. Puck sent into the neutral zone, and Montreal's got the puck in their own zone. Montreal looking. They have some space, and here is Jake Evans into the offensive zone and dumped in. Anderson turns it over. It's a terrible turnover. However, Carolina is able to outnumber Montreal, and maybe a little bit of a break here for the Hurricanes. Robinson trying to get another breakaway is not able to this time, and now the Montreal Canadiens take the puck back into the neutral zone. Carolina's got it, gets it to the red line, sends it in. 40 seconds left during the first period, and will have been dominated by the Carolina Hurricanes. Once again, Carolina trying to advance the Stanley Cup Final for the first time in 20 years. Montreal's the puck in their own zone. Stretch feed here. Nice. Coming in. Caulfield. Oh, he's offside. Oh, he would have had a good chance to score there. Once again, Suzuki was bumped at the line, sent Caulfield in offside. That's going to lead to a neutral zone face-off with 26 seconds left in the first period. How you doing, Howie? It's nice to see that you are in the live stream here, so I really do thank you for tuning in. Once again, 3-0 Hurricane. Shots are 15-4 in favor of Carolina. 26 seconds left here in the first period. Once again, we will have the intermission report at intermission. Plus, we'll talk about some other things that have been happening from around the NHL. So, very good stuff there. Hurricanes have the puck in the Hurricanes and Habs have a face-off dot in the neutral zone. Montreal wins it, trying to send it in. They can't. Carolina's going to get possession of that puck. Maybe a little bit of a 2-on-1 break here for the Hurricanes. Martinic loses his stick, so he can't join that rush. Carolina is able to get there first. However, Montreal gets it back now. 12 seconds left. They send it into the neutral zone. Carolina's going to get the puck there first. And 6 seconds left. They just stop behind their own goal. Turnover, though. Montreal. Shot. Lane Hudson stopped. Oh, that was blocked by one of the Carolina Hurricanes players. That was almost a terrible way to end the period for the Carolina Hurricanes, but an amazing block from Keandre Miller is going to keep that puck out. What a block from Keandre Miller as time expires, and we're going to be heading to intermission with a 3-0 Carolina Hurricanes lead. What a start for this potential series-clinching game for the Carolina Hurricanes. Montreal has themselves a huge hole to climb. Remember, coming into the Eastern Conference Final, the Habs were 6-0 after a loss. So far, they've lost 3 straight on the precipice of a 4th and being eliminated. So very interesting to note there. Once again, some really good options for both teams early on to get that first goal, but Carolina was able to, and since then, they've just been running it up. So really good stuff there from the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's see here. Hold on a minute here, folks. Let's see. Hold on a minute here. And we're going to be going straight here to the intermission report. So once again, we've got about 15 minutes left before the start of the second period, which actually should change that to intermission first. Just give me one quick sec here, folks. This is going to be changed to intermission. So that's going to be intermission, so that's good stuff there. And we'll center that just a little bit, and that looks good. So it is now intermission. And we are going to do the intermission report. So, shots currently on goal in this game are 15-4 in favor of the Carolina Hurricanes. The first goal of the game came at 9:17 of the first period. Taylor Hall from Stankoven and Blake opened the scoring, giving the Hurricanes a 1-0 lead. Then just under 6 minutes later, it was Logan Stankoven with a blistering shot from Taylor Hall and Alexander Nikishin to give themselves a 2-0 lead. And then 1 minute and 40 seconds later, the Hurricanes will make it 3-0. Eric Robinson from William Carrier. So it's 3-0 Carolina over the Montreal Canadiens with a shot to send themselves to the Stanley Cup Final, which if they win today, will be played on Tuesday. So once again, some other stats here. The Montreal Canadiens lead in the faceoff dot, having won 59% of their faceoffs, 13 of 22. Both teams have not scored a power play goal as of this point. Habs are 0 for 2, Canes are 0 for 1, so neither power play has been overly powerful for each team. The hits are in Carolina's favor, 10-5. The blocked shots are in Carolina's favor, 4-2. The giveaways are in Carolina's favor, 9-4, and the takeaways are in Carolina's favor, 5-0. So very interesting to note there. But that is the intermission report with how the things look at this current point in time. Now, we're going to really quickly just look at some other pieces of news that have happened from over the past couple of days. Let's see here. Hold on a minute here, folks. Just going to try and look at some of the things that have happened over the past little while. Let's see here. The double IHF Men's World Championships did play, I think, last night. Once again, if you guys are into that, Canada beat the States, Finland beat the Czechs, Switzerland beat the Swedes, and Norway beat the Latvians. So that's going to set up semifinals on Saturday, tomorrow, Switzerland, Norway, and Canada, Finland. So after I think the U.S. won that tournament last year, Canada is in a really good position to potentially win it this year, or Finland. So very interesting to note there. Let's see here if there's any other big pieces of news that have happened. I don't really think so. So there's really not that much that's happened over the past couple of days. Let's look if there's been any new signings. Just give me one quick sec here, folks. I am going to put this over here. Just give me one quick sec here, folks, and I'm just going to see if there's been any signings recently. Let's see. Yeah, there has been a couple, but they're all lower end guys. Huntington signed in San Jose on a low end deal, and then some ELCs in Utah, Buffalo, San Jose, Tampa, and Nashville. So not really a ton of things to talk about there. Once again, I do expect over the next couple of weeks, as we get into the start of the Stanley Cup Final, that there will be start to being more trades, more movement when it comes to potentially draft swaps. I think there'll be more signings and things like that. So I do think over the next couple of weeks, we'll start to see more and more movement heading into the start of the offseason. And leading into the draft and free agency, I will be having live streams of the draft and free agency. I think the draft's on the 22nd or 26th of June. Let me just double check here, folks. Yeah, so the 26th of June, I think, is the first round, then 27th of June is rounds 2 through 7. So we'll be having live streams on both days. On Friday for round 1, and on Saturday, I usually just do rounds 2 through 4. So I will be doing live streams on just Friday and Saturday in June, the last Friday and Saturday of June for the draft. So I hope you guys are able to stay tuned for that. And then on July 1st, I will be having a live stream for free agency. However, it's probably not going to be an overly long live stream, probably only like an hour and a half to 2 hours, because there isn't a ton of free agents that are heading for free agency this year. So it's probably going to be a little bit of a lackluster day. I mean, last year's was a lackluster day, and there were bigger free agents than this year. So I'm probably going to be doing like an hour and a half to 2 hour live stream on July 1st. But I will be doing at least a little bit of a live stream, and then also have content coming out talking about the draft, talking about free agency, moves that happen around there. It'll be interesting to see how some teams shake some things up. I'm currently working either later tonight or tomorrow at some point. I will be posting a couple of off-season previews for Dallas and Pittsburgh, as well as Edmonton and Boston. And it's quite interesting to see Dallas. I think they only have like $10 million in cap space for this upcoming offseason. And Jason Robertson wants $12+ million on this cap hit. So they either have to move off of one or two players, create that cap space, sign Robertson, then you're going to have no space in order to wind up bringing in another guy, or you're going to have to trade Robertson, which you're losing a 40 goal scorer. So yeah, Dallas is going to be a team to watch out for. Edmonton, they got $14 million in cap space. They got some big business to take care of. Kapanen, you've got Dickinson, you've got Murphy, Ingram. They all want to sign them. And then on top of that, like, what did they do with Jari? What did they do with Nurse? So like Edmonton's going to be a very interesting team to watch out for. There's a couple of other teams actually too, if memory serves me correct, that don't have a ton of cap space for this upcoming off season. Just let me see if I can find some teams here because I do have a list of them. Just give me one quick sec here, folks. So yeah, Vancouver has tons of space, no surprise there. The Rangers have tons of space, no surprise there. The Hawks have plethora of space, no surprise there. The Leafs, they actually have a decent amount of cap space. The Panthers don't have an absurd amount of cap space, but they do have $50 million in cap space. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens and how that shakes out. The Devils do have $12 million in cap space, so the Devils are going to be another interesting team. There's talks about a Heischer extension. There's talks about them needing to make some moves. What happens with Simon Nemec and everyone on that blue line? I think Jersey's going to be a very, very interesting team with their cap crunch to be watching out for this offseason. Calgary's got some cap space. Seattle's got some cap space. St. Louis does have some cap space. Detroit has plethora of cap space. Columbus, I think, has a pretty good chunk of cap space, as does actually the Islanders. Going to be another interesting team. They only have about $12 million in cap space. So it'll be interesting to see the guys sign Anders Lee. Do they let their captain walk this offseason? Do they let D'Angelo or Susie walk? They got to find a backup for Ilya Sorokin. Probably got to find a couple more bottom six guys. There's a lot of talk about them potentially moving off of Anthony Duclair or Adam Pelech. So that's very interesting. Yeah, I think the Caps are in a pretty dang good cap position when it comes to their projected cap. Like, they're going to be able to make a ton of moves. Wouldn't be surprised if they move some of their picks and prospects to go after some top-end talent, whether it be on the forward group or on the defensive end. I think Washington's in a fantastic position, but I'm just really quickly here listing a couple of teams who I think could be in a little more of a cap bind, like New Jersey, like the Islanders, like there was the Devils, there was the Islanders. Those two teams, I think, have like less than 13 million in cap space, so they're going to be in very interesting situations. Hold on a minute here, folks. The Islanders, like I said, the Caps, yeah, they have like a ton of cap space available to make some moves happen. Jets don't have a great amount of cap space, but they have at least a little bit of wiggle room. Sharks have a giant amount of cap space, as do the Nashville Predators. Ottawa's going to be another interesting one. Not a terrible amount of cap space, but they only have 16 million. They do have to sign Claude Giroux, potentially try and bring him back. The Senators do have a couple of lower end RFAs, Jordan Spence, and there's a lot of talk they want to go after a top six forward or a top four defenseman. So what do the Ottawa Senators try and cook up to try and free up some cap space? I've heard some talk about maybe moving Fabian Zetterlund if it was able to get them some sort of a top-end talent. The Los Angeles Kings, once again, don't have a ton of cap space, but not terrible amount. Pittsburgh has a plethora of cap space. Dallas, who I will be doing an off-season preview video for either later tonight or tomorrow morning. They only have $10 million in cap space to sign Jason Robertson, Maverick Bourque, and fill out the rest of their rosters. Like, I have no clue what the Dallas Stars are going to do, aside from potentially moving out on from the final year of Tyler Seguin's contract, which I think will be very, very interesting to see. I don't know how they're going to free up enough cap space to give themselves a really solid roster for next year. So very interesting to know there. Edmonton, like, they don't have a ton of cap space, but they just have a hair under 15 million. They do have to bring back Dickinson. They want to bring back Kapanen. They want to bring back Murphy. They want to bring back Ingram. What happens with Jari? What happens with Nurse? Are they able to find some takers for those guys? Once again, Boston, they have a pretty decent amount of cap space, so I haven't gone to any of the other teams yet, but very interesting to note there. So like teams like Jersey, teams like the Islanders, teams like Edmonton, teams like Dallas, teams like Ottawa, like those are going to be very interesting teams to watch out for. I think they will be making some cap cutting moves in the off season. So I'll let you guys thoughts on those five teams in particular right now: Dallas, Edmonton, Ottawa, New Jersey, and the Islanders. What sort of moves are you envisioning those sorts of teams to be making this off season to try and get better for the upcoming season while still moving off some cap and being able to make enough moves? So I'll let you guys thoughts on all of those. But yeah, there hasn't been a ton of movement over the past couple of days, and will be very interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks. Like I said, I do expect the Stanley Cup, as the Stanley Cup Final starts to see some more movement, some more trades, free agent signings, things like that. So it will be very interesting to see what happens there. Just give me one quick sec here, folks. Just going to try and charge my device here just to make sure that doesn't die during the live stream. Still got some charge left, but just want to be safe. So very interesting to note there. Once again, Carolina looks like they're on the precipice of reaching the Stanley Cup Final. Remember, going after they won the Stanley Cup in 2006, they beat Buffalo in the conference final, Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Final. That was their last Stanley Cup Final appearance, and that was their first ever Stanley Cup win. Since then, they've been to 4 Eastern Conference Finals before this year. That was back in 2009 when they played the Pittsburgh Penguins. They got swept. In 2019, they played the Boston Bruins. They got swept. In 2023, they played the Florida Panthers. They got swept. And last year, they played Panthers again. And they didn't get swept, but they lost in 5 games. So Carolina's had horrible success in Eastern Conference Finals since they were able to win the Stanley Cup back in 2006. And they are looking like they are on the precipice of making it back to the Stanley Cup Final. So that's very good stuff there for Carolina. Like I said, I don't mind a Carolina-Vegas Stanley Cup Final. Would have been better if it was Buffalo, Minnesota, and we could have seen a new team lift the Stanley Cup Final, a Stanley Cup. Yes, that would have been a lot better in my opinion. But having 2 teams fight for their second ever Stanley Cup in franchise history would not be bad in my opinion. Carolina's had to work their butts off to get back to the Stanley Cup Final if they do win tonight's game. Vegas is my favorite team. I don't mind that Stanley Cup Final, but I do think it'd be a little bit more of a boring, slower-paced Stanley Cup Final where you'd have a lot of 2-1, 3-2 scorelines. Both those 2 teams are very sound defensively. So it'll be very interesting to note there. But yeah, it seems like Carolina is well on their way right now to making it back to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time in 20 years. So very interesting to note there. I'm going to change this thing here, this little graphic to the second period because we are getting closer to the start of the second. We are about 5 minutes away from the start of the second period, so we still got a little bit of time. But I just want to make sure that we are good to go. So very interesting to know there. Once again, with the way Carolina's defense is playing right now, I don't know if they're going to be able to wind up. I don't know if Montreal is going to be able to get anything on net here tonight. So it'll be very interesting. I don't know if they're going to be able to get anything past Anderson, and if they are able to, can they make this a game? I'm not exactly sure because that Carolina defense has been absolutely suffocating for the Montreal Canadiens, especially in the last couple of games. So it will be very interesting to see. Once again, there's about 3 minutes until intermission is done, so we'll get back to the game in a minute. If you guys haven't already, leave a like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 700 subscribers during this live stream. So if you guys haven't already, you like the content, hit the subscribe button down below. It really does help with the channel. And like I said, for my next few videos over the next couple of days, I'm planning on having a fan reaction video out tomorrow for this game. I'm also planning on having a trade room video hopefully out tomorrow. And then I'm also going to be trying to either later tonight or tomorrow morning post my 2 off-season preview videos. I got one for Dallas and Pittsburgh, and I got one for Edmonton and Boston. So that's sort of my prediction. So that's sort of my schedule for the next little bit. My schedule for next week will really depend on if Carolina wins tonight, or if Montreal wins on Sunday, or if Montreal or Carolina get to a Game 7. So it'll be very interesting, but I'm not going to say my schedule for next week. But my next live stream will usually be on Tuesday for a Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final, or a Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, or if Montreal does somehow miraculously come back and win tonight, then Thursday Game 1 Stanley Cup Final would be my next live stream. So either way, those are going to be the next few live streams. So very interesting to note there. We'll set everything back up, and we should be getting back in the very near future. Once again, it's been all Carolina so far in this Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. And we shall see if they are able to continue their relentless pressure here in the second period and try and win the Prince of Wales trophy and advance to the Stanley Cup Final. So, yeah, once again, I don't mind Carolina too much, but it'll be very interesting. Once again, Carolina's in a really good position with their cap, with how they've constructed their roster for the next few years. I don't know if Frederik Andersen's going to be back. That's probably going to be the biggest question for the Hurricanes this offseason. But yeah, besides that, Carolina's got a team that's going to be really, really good. I think they're going to be the class of the Metro Division for the next couple of years. Now, are they going to be able to make it to the Stanley Cup Final over the next couple of years? I don't know. They play a really good style defense. They play a really good style of game. but I could see a couple of those Atlantic Division teams give them a little bit of run for their money. Like Buffalo's starting to get better, Montreal's starting to get better, Ottawa's starting to get better, Florida and Toronto I expect to be back to being better next year. I expect some regression from Boston, Tampa, but not sure how much next year. So I do expect the Atlantic to be a bloodbath and the Metro Division over the next couple of years to be Carolina's. Like, as much as I would like to see Washington do well, would like to see Pittsburgh do well, especially with Ovechkin and Crosby still on those teams. As much as I'd like to see Columbus have some success, Philadelphia have some success. I just don't know if any one of those Metro Division teams could really keep up with the Carolina Hurricanes over the next couple of years. So it'll be very interesting to see. It looks like we are getting back here for the start of the second period here between the Hurricanes and the Habs. So very interesting to note there. It looks like we're just getting a view of the Carolina skyline. So very interesting to note there. And we're just about to get started here for the start of the Hurricanes and the Habs game. So once again, very interesting. They're just showing Eric Robinson, who in game one was able to score a goal. In game two, scored a goal. And I think in game five, scored a goal. So once again, he scored a goal in every single home game in the conference finals this year for the Carolina Hurricanes. So Eric Robinson having himself a series. So really good stuff there. Once again, the fourth line has combined 10 points in this series for the Carolina Hurricanes. That's Carrier, Jankowski, and Robinson. So very interesting to note there. Once again, and all are in the plus rating. I think Jankowski's +3, Robinson's +4, and Carrier is +5. So once again, Carrier knows what it takes to get to the Stanley Cup Final. He did that in the inaugural Vegas season, so it'll be very interesting to see if Carrier goes back to face his former team in the Stanley Cup Final. That'll be very interesting. Once again, neutral zone face-off draw, Hurricanes and Habs start the second period. Hurricanes looking to close this thing out, and Habs looking to try and get something going here in the offensive side of things. It is New Suzuki against one of the Canes players, and the Habs do gain possession. Lane Hudson has it. Hudson across to Gooley, and Gooley sends it into the offensive zone, and they can't get anything. Hall's got it, and the Canes send it deep into the Habs zone, and Dobish has it around the net, trying to get away from a couple of the Hurricanes players, and in comes the Montreal Canadiens. It's actually, I think, offside. So there's going to be there's no offside call. Breakaway, Carolina, it's in, shoots, stop, rebound, and what a stop from Dobish. I thought that puck went in. Jarvis was sprung on a breakaway. He missed on the first attempt, and I thought that puck went in the second attempt. Nice try, close call there. Svechnikov trying to get the puck back, and there's a penalty here on Montreal. Showing their frustration, one of the Habs players, I think, just shoved one of the Carolina Hurricanes players to the ground, and that's going to bring up a penalty. So very interesting to note there. Actually, give me one quick sec here, folks. So yeah, once again, Gooley was taken down by Martinook. He looked like he was a little bit shaken up. So that's not great stuff there. And then Suzuki and Hudson were going after Jarvis. I think that might actually be a holding call on Nick Suzuki. So either way, it's going to be a penalty here for the Canadiens. It's holding. It is on Suzuki. And that's going to lead to a second period power play for the Carolina Hurricanes, who are 0 for 1 so far on the night. And let's see how this one goes. Evans trying to win the defensive face-off draw. He does. Carrier is going to try and get around the board, stopped up by a Hurricane player. Canadiens now got it. Evans turns it over. Blake to Ehlers at the point, or Stankoven. Stankoven back to Blake. Back across. Stankoven, he almost put that one home. Nice try there from Stankoven. And now the Hurricanes have the puck again. Trying to send it in. Stankoven sends it across. It's tipped out by the Montreal Canadiens. And now it is Keandre Miller. Miller passes it to Stankoven. Stankoven sends it across. And Carolina's got the puck. Sends it back. Sends it to the point. Nice passing plays here. It is Miller who sends it to Ehlers, gets it back, and they're trying to get back to Miller. He is able to get the puck. Carolina's got the puck, sending it around. Keandre Miller is going to send it to Stankoven. Turnover. Evans tried to spring one of the Habs players, just a little bit out of his reach. Habs go off on the line change. Canes get the puck back. And now it's Keandre Miller. Keandre Miller in his own zone, stops it up. Nice play there. And here come the Carolina Hurricanes. Aho sends it across, sends it in. Carolina's got it in front, and that one's going to go wide. and the Habs clear the puck back into the Carolina zone. 40 seconds left on the Hurricanes power play. So really good stuff there from Carolina. Bear is going to get the puck in the defensive zone, sends it back. I think that's the top unit back out there for the Hurricanes. Jarvis is going to lose possession of the puck, and in comes Philippe Deneau. Nice play there, is going to try and get the puck in the offensive zone, is able to. Shoots! And Anderson with a nice stop. Carolina's got the puck in their own zone, trying to make some passing plays, and Carolina is going to keep the puck. It's Bear sends it to Jarvis. Jarvis in. He's got a little bit of space. And the shot, it's loose. Anderson's going to find it and clear it out. That's a solid play there on the penalty kill from Josh Anderson. Penalty is over. 17-5 shots on goal for the Hurricanes. 17 minutes left in the second period. Here's Jacob Slavin. Slavin sends it across to Chatfield, and he's going to dump it down. Carolina's going to get the puck there first. Montreal intercepts. Nice play from Hudson. And Slavkovsky's going to turn the puck on. Slavkovsky is going to get the puck around the boards. Suzuki, turn it over. However, Montreal's able to get there first. It's Lane Hudson. Hudson trying to find a passing lane. He can't. Now Suzuki's got it. Suzuki sends it across. Nice play there. And here come the Habs. Caulfield to Slavkovsky. Tries to get to Caulfield. Can't. Caulfield around the boards. Trying to get to Suzuki. Gets to Slavkovsky. To the point to Hudson. Hudson back to Slavkovsky on the boards. Slavkovsky shoots one on goal. It's blocked. And the puck takes a deflection up and out of play. So that's going to lead to another face-off dot. I'm not sure if this is going to be inside the zone or out, but either way. Some really solid blocks there from the Carolina Hurricanes, and Montreal just cannot get anything going offensively. They're now being outshot 17-5. Montreal just cannot get any shots in edgewise on the Carolina Hurricanes. And once again, that's right now where the downfall is right now. So, once again, offensive zone face-off draw for the Habs now after the shot took a deflection up into the crowd. It's Jankowski out there, and Jankowski is going to win the draw. Carolina's got it, and now Carolina stops up. Veleno looks like might have taken a high stick. We'll see here, folks. I'm not sure if there was a penalty on the play. I think it's going to be a 2-minute high sticking call on the Hurricanes. Veleno's going to the bench now. That's not great stuff there from Joe Veleno. And it's Nikishin who's going to the penalty box. So it looks like Nikishin's stick caught Evans up high, or Newhook or Veleno up high. Let's see here. And oh yeah, his stick definitely caught Veleno up high. So that means Nikishin's going to the box, and the Habs are going back to the power play. So very good stuff there. So very interesting stuff so far. Veleno's now on the bench, and the Habs win the offensive zone draw. Nice play there back to Hudson. Hudson gets it across to Caulfield. Caulfield to Suzuki. Suzuki to Hudson. Hudson back across to Demidov. Fakes the shot. Gets to Slavkovsky. Slavkovsky to Hudson. Hudson with a shot, tipped in front, and that one goes wide. Montreal around the boards, trying to keep it in. They can't, and the puck goes back into the neutral zone. It's Lane Hudson. Hudson in front of Dobesh is going to stop up and start a breakout. Hudson gets it to Slavkovsky, sends it to Suzuki, and they send it into Caulfield. Nice play there around the boards to Slavkovsky. Slavkovsky back to Caulfield. Caulfield at the point. Sends it to Lane Hudson. Hudson back to Slavkovsky. Slavkovsky trying to center one in front. Shots! God, Caulfield just couldn't put it home. Once again, the puck back to the point. Slavkovsky to Hudson. Hudson is going to switch spaces with Demidov. Shoots! Stop! Rebound! Caulfield! He can't put the loose puck home. Carolina's got the puck, and they send it all the way down the ice. Some great opportunities there for Montreal, but they cannot put anything past Anderson. Lane Hudson's got it in their own zone. And the Montreal Canadiens are going to stop up. And here come the Habs. Now in the offensive zone is Hudson. Hudson is going to stop up. However, he loses possession of the puck. Miller off the boards and down the ice. Dobesh below the goal line to get it. And Dobesh is just going to stop up, get away from Jankowski, and leave it for one of his teammates. Now here come the Habs again. Lane Hudson into the offensive zone, just going to dump it in, and actually that was Dobson, and Doc gets it back to the point. And once again, they can't hold the line. 25 seconds left in the power play. Shots now 17-6 in favor of the Carolina Hurricanes. Bolduc sends it across to Dobson. Dobson back to Bolduc, and now Dobson returns the feed back. Carolina's got the puck in their own zone. They send it around. It's Keandre Miller. Miller sends it into the neutral zone. And back into the Montreal zone. No more power play time for the Canadiens as they got one shot on their last power play and they still have the puck in their own zone. Montreal in their own zone, trying to find some sort of passing lane. And let's see here, Matheson. Once again, just parked right behind Dobesh, right behind the nets. And he's going to whip it around the boards. It stops up by one of the Hurricanes players, but they turn it back over. Dobson is going to get the puck back, and it's turned over by Hall. Stankoven's got the puck again. Stankoven around the boards, trying to hit Blake. Evans gets there first, but Blake does intercept. And now the puck goes back in the Montreal zone, and Carolina trying to get there first. They are able to. Nice keeping there from Chatfield. Back around to Blake. Blake looking for a passing lane, and the Montreal Canadiens now have the puck. Montreal sends it deep, and nice play there from the Carolina Hurricanes. And now here comes Carolina. In the neutral zone, turns it over. Montreal has it. Into the offensive zone. Bolduc looking to try and get around a couple people. It's Evans, actually, but he can't put the shot on goal. Evans back to the point. Now he's got it to Hudson. Back to Gooley. Gooley trying to keep that puck in. Now Deneau fighting with Flavin along the boards. It's a board battle. And Deneau sends it for Carrier. Carrier can't keep the line. Carolina's got her on the boards. Evans gets there first. Evans holds it, gets it across. Shot from Gooley! And that one stopped. Evans is going to be able to keep possession of the puck. Evans trying to get across to Gooley, cannot. And now maybe a little break here for the Hurricanes. Potential breakaway. Carolina in, shoots, stops, rebound, scores! Another goal for the Hurricanes. It's this line again. Jackson Blake 4-0 Hurricanes, who are 32 minutes away from making it to the Stanley Cup Final. What an effort from the Hurricanes to have set some really good pressure. Could not put it past Anderson. Leads to a break the other way, and on the rebound, it's Jackson Blake who puts it home. My gosh, this line is absolutely insane. Let's see what happened here. Once again, it was intercepted by Stankoven. He sent Hall on a little bit of a breakaway. He was stopped on the initial shot, but rebound was put in by Jackson Blake. So once again, it's going to be Blake from Hall and Stankoven. What is up with this line? Like, this line destroyed the Ottawa Senators, and now they're destroying the Montreal Canadiens. So, like, it's just absolutely insane how good that line is being for the Carolina Hurricanes. All three of these guys got to be up for the Conn Smythe if the Hurricanes win this. If the Hurricanes win the Stanley Cup. Hurricanes have the puck in the offensive zone again. It's Jarvis trying to get away from Suzuki. Is able to for a second. And now the Hurricanes don't have possession of the puck. Once again, another board battle here behind Jakub Dobesh. And Sveshnikov can't hold the line. Nice play there. Newhook is going to try and get away from a couple of Canes players. Is able to. Now Montreal's got Struble. Sends it around. And now Montreal has got it. It's Hudson who just sends it deep into the Carolina zone. Anderson stops it up for one of his players. Turned over. Montreal's got the puck again. Caulfield to Slavkovsky. Suzuki to Demidov. He cannot put it home. Why can't the Habs not put it home? Anderson with another brilliant couple of stops. And it stays 4-0 Hurricanes. Boy, this game's sort of being like a tire fire at this point for the Montreal Canadiens. Once again, nice try backhanded for Hall. Rebound, Blake scores. And, boy, once again, Jackson Blake from Stankoven and Hall, Marshall. That's that top line, not top line, but that second line for the Carolina Hurricanes, which has done all the damage in this year's postseason. Stankoven sprung Hall on a partial breakaway. He shot it. It was a nice stop from Dobesh, but the rebound went right to a streaking Jackson Blake, who put it in 5-hole with Dobesh sprawling and trying to stop it. He could not. Blake, I think, has a 2-point game in this one. Hall and Stankoven have 3 points. It's that entire unit that's been absolutely humming all season long. Like, and if you look at it in the first round, that line did every single damage to the Ottawa Senators. In the second line, a little bit quieter, but they still were impactful against the Philadelphia Flyers. And over the past couple of games, they have really started turning things up against the Montreal Canadiens. So, yeah, it's just been that entire line of Hall, Stankoven, and Blake. Let's see exactly the stat lines right now. We are on a commercial break, so you guys are not missing a thing. Blake from Hall and Stankoven, Stankoven from Hall and Nikishin, Hall from Stankoven and Blake, and then of course the other one was Robinson's goal. So Stankoven has a goal and 2 assists, Blake has a goal and an assist, and Hall has a goal and 2 assists. So that is what that line has been doing. So hold on a minute here, I'll just put it down in the chat. Carolina's second line currently has combined for 3 goals, 5 assists, and 8 points, which is absolutely absurd for the Carolina Hurricanes in this do or die game for Carolina. So combined, hold on a minute here, folks. Combined for 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points. So yeah, Carolina's second line has been absolutely absurd. So very good stuff there. Once again, Habs have offensive faceoff draw. We're back from commercial break. And once again, Carolina intercepts. Carolina, red zone and in. They chase after it. 11 minutes left here in the second period. And now Carolina turns over. Montreal has it. Deneau sends it in. Nice tip there from Slavkovsky. Once again, Martin St. Louis is juggling his lines just to try and get something going here. He's now got Slavkovsky playing with Deneau, and I can't see who the other winger is. I think it's actually Caulfield. So he's got Deneau centering the Caulfield line. So very interesting to note there. Philippe Deneau's got it, and he's going to stop up. Nice backhand pass, but it's to one of the Carolina Hurricanes players. They get the puck back in the zone. This line is back out there. It's Blake, Stankoven, and Hall. Blake behind the net, trying to fight for it. Stankoven in front, but there's no one there. And now the Hurricanes do get it. Let's see here. Carolina's got the puck again. Back to the point. Slavin gets the puck back. Tries a shot. It goes wide. And now Carolina's going to funnel it down again. Stankoven trying to keep that puck in is not able to. Dobson's going to get there first, and they are able to finally get out. Caulfield drops it for Deneau, who just gets the puck deep, and both teams go off on a change. Yeah, in a period and a half, too. Imagine if they score a couple more goals in that second, in the rest of the second and the third. Like, they could be running up the stats here. That all those 3 players on that line for Carolina and Anderson, I think, have to be the consummate front runners if the Hurricanes do wind up winning the Stanley Cup. Chatfield's got sends it in deep, and that's going to be either held on by Dobesh or tipped out of the play. So either way, there's going to be a face-off here, I think, in the Montreal Canadiens zone. Once again, Carolina, they've held their dues. 20 years it's been since they've been to the Stanley Cup Final. They're looking like they're well on their way right now to making it back to the Stanley Cup Final. So once again, 7th team in NHL history to win 11 of first 12 playoff games, and they're looking like they're going to win 12 of their first 13. Like, going to the Stanley Cup Final being 12-1 is absurd. And as a Knights fan, someone who I would love to see the Knights win another Stanley Cup, I'm a little bit concerned about this Carolina Hurricanes team because I do think they could take out the Vegas Golden Knights. And I think that series could go either way. Once again, an offside call on Carolina. However, Montreal's going to keep possession in their own zone. Carolina's now tagged up. However, Montreal has it in the neutral zone. Matheson trying to go through everyone is able to get there first. Around for Doc. Doc for Bolduc. Bolduc gets it back for Doc. Matheson's now got it. Matheson sends it for Doc. However, Gostisbehere intercepts it below the goal line for the Hurricanes. Trying to get that puck loose. Matheson to Hudson to Carrier. Carrier with a shot, and that one goes wide. Carolina's now got the puck again, and in comes, I think that was Jankowski who sends it in. Montreal's got around the boards. It's Keaton Gooley. Gooley off the boards into the neutral zone, and Carolina's going to get the puck back for a second. However, Montreal's got the puck back. Both teams changing. Carrier is just going to dump it in. Nice play there from Alexander Carrier, and now Carolina's got the puck again. Stretch feed, trying to get the puck, and they are able to. In comes the Carolina Hurricanes. Drops it off for Thess Jarvis. Jarvis around the boards, sends it for Aho. Aho is going to send it back to Svechnikov at the late penalty call, and Carolina is going to get yet another power play. 9 minutes left in the second period, and things go from bad to worse for Montreal as they are on the precipice of having another penalty on them. Let's see what the call was. It looks like Hudson high sticking on Svechnikov. 9:04 left in the second period. We're going to a commercial break. 4-0 Hurricanes. 3 of the goals from the second line of Hall, Stankoven, and Blake. Just absolutely absurd how much dominance that line has had for the Carolina Hurricanes. So it'll be interesting to see if this does score this hold, and it looks like it will. It'll be interesting to see how this Stanley Cup Final goes. Like, I could see it go either way. If it is Carolina Vegas, which right now is looking like it will be, like, both teams have really hot goaltenders in Anderson and Hart. Both teams have fantastic defenses with some of the lower end guys playing up in the lineup and doing really well. And both teams have fantastic forward groups. Vegas is going to get a couple more extra days of rest, but I think if this score finishes like it is, and the Hurricanes advance this Cup Final, only be 3 more days of rest. So it won't be much more rest than the Carolina Hurricanes will have. And I could see that series go either way. Like, Vegas has had some really good production from their second line. Carolina's had some really good production from their second line. Both teams have been able to shut down offenses that were really highly potent. Once again, I know it's their first ever, not first ever, but first playoffs in a while. But Utah has a really highly potent offense. Anaheim has a really highly potent offense. I know they're a little bit injured, but Colorado's offense is highly potent. Once again, I stand to think. Sorry, there was a motorbiker behind me. I stand to think that Ottawa does have a pretty decent forward group, and they were able to shut them down. Besides the one game in Game 1, Carolina shut down Montreal's offense. And on top of that, like Philadelphia, I think it's safe to say doesn't have very much of an offense. But still, like, both teams have been able to shut down highly potent offenses. So, like, this is going to be one heck of a Stanley Cup Final if the Hurricanes do hold on. Like, it'll be interesting. It'll be the third Stanley Cup Final, I think, for both teams in their franchise's history. I think the Hurricanes went to a Stanley Cup. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I think it was in the early 2000s. It may have been against Detroit. I can't remember exactly at this point. And then, of course, they beat the Oilers in 06. So the Knights lost in 18 to Washington. They won in 23 over Florida. Carolina wins the offensive zone faceoff draw, tipped in front, and Stankoven trying to get his second of the game. Stankoven is going to pass it, but it goes out of the zone, and Carolina's going to have to restart. Miller's now got it. Miller, once again, Miller's out there, I think, with either Ehlers or Svechnikov, and the second unit for the Carolina Hurricanes. Dobesh tops it up, sends it all the way down the ice, and Suzuki, trying to beat them out, is able to. And once again, he gets hit off the boards, and Carolina's got the puck again. Carolina 4-on-3 into the offensive zone, passes it across. Stankoven drops it off for Blake. Blake looking for a passing lane, gets it to the point to Miller. Miller back to one of the other players, shot stopped, and now Blake's got the puck again along the wall. Blake to Stankoven. Stankoven leaves it for Hall, back to Blake. Blake has some space in the corner at the point, and now it's Keandre Miller. Miller gets it back to Hall. Hall sends it back to Miller. Miller back across, back to Miller. Miller gets it back, and now they're trying to find something. Changes it up with one of the other Hurricanes players. Now it's Blake. Blake gets it across to Ehlers. Ehlers back to Blake. Blake shoots one, stopped by Dobesh. And now Keandre Miller with 40 seconds left on the power play. Miller is going to send it, and now gets it back. Jackson Blake. Blake sends it across to Stankoven. Stankoven shoots! Sharp angle shot, stopped by Jakob Dobesh. Carolina on the boards again, 25 seconds left on the power play. Now it's Hall to Stankoven. Stankoven is going to get it to Ehlers. Ehlers back to Miller. Miller with 15 seconds on the power play. Looking for a passing lane, gets it back. Nice play there. However, it's turned over by the Hurricanes. However, Carolina does keep possession. Stankoven trying to keep it in is not able to. It is. But now it's Blake trying to get it to Hall. He can't. It's intercepted, and that one's going to go all the way down the ice for the Carolina Hurricanes. Anderson out to play it. And the Hurricanes with a nice stretch feed here. And now here comes into the offensive zone, trying to get away from Carey was Jarvis. He could not. And now Montreal on the boards. And now it's Jake Evans. Evans into the offensive zone. And he's going to try and stop up. Sends it across. Anderson stops up, shoots, and that one's stopped by Anderson, the goaltender. And now once again, Montreal having a little bit of a cycling the puck a little bit here. Texier to Matheson. Walks in. Matheson trying to feed in front. And Anderson can't put it past Anderson. 6.5 left in the second period. Once again, the Hurricanes trying to get the puck out of their own zone. Gostisbehere gets it. Sends it into the neutral zone. And Carolina is just going to be able to send it back into their own zone. Now they loop it back up into the Montreal zone. And it's slapped. I think this was actually played by a high stick. Or it was an offside call. Either way, there's going to be a stoppage in play here. 6:12 left in the second period, and it is 4-0 Hurricanes, and the Habs' frustration is just boiling over at this point. So once again, after winning Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final, it looks like they're about to lose 4 consecutive games. Once again, if you guys haven't already, leave a subscribe down below. We are very close to hitting 700 subscribers. If you like the content, if you like what I bring, then definitely leave a subscribe. We're trying to hit 700 subscribers before the live stream ends. So I really hope you guys are able to do that. Once again, Carolina's got the puck. Send it in. Slavin with a shot. Stopped. No one knows where the puck is. Now the Habs do, and they send it back into the neutral zone. Nice play there from Montreal. Carolina's got the puck. They looking for a passing lane here. Chatfield sends it. Nice play there. And now here comes the Hurricanes into the offensive zone. Stahl goes after it along with Struble. Stahl and Struble looking for it. Slavkovsky's got it. Slavkovsky sends it. Trying to stretch feet. Cannot find a player open. And sent all the way back into the Montreal zone. Struble leaves it for Hudson. Hudson, nice play there from Lane Hudson. And now it's Jake Evans. Evans turns it over. Carolina with a shot stopped. And yeah, it's going to be stopped by Jakub Dobeš. So when was the last time Montreal actually scored a goal? It looks like we're about to go to a commercial break, maybe. I think. Let's just see here. Once again, Martino with a shot. Stop by Dobeš. Yeah, 5.5 left in the second. We're going to a commercial break. So obviously they haven't scored in this game yet. They didn't score in the last game, and they had to score to tie the game up in the third period. I think it was against Carolina in the last game. So just give me one quick sec here, folks. I just want to really see how long it's been for the Montreal Canadiens. So let's see. They tied the game 3 up with 4:43 into the second, and the game finished with 14:06 in overtime. So, hold on a minute here, folks. Let me do some quick math. So, and then 49:17. So, 49 minutes and 23 seconds in, hold on a minute here, folks. Just give me a quick sec here. 49 minutes and 3 seconds. They were not able to get that done. Hold on a minute here, folks. So, in 49 minutes and 3 seconds, and 49 minutes and 23 seconds, plus the entirety of the last game, which would be 60 minutes. So that'd be 109 minutes and 23 seconds. And then how much has gone so far? 27, 6, 14, 27. So 34, 27 plus. So that'd be what? Almost 145 minutes now without a goal for the Carolina Hurricanes. It's been for the Montreal Canadiens. It's been quite a while since the Montreal Canadiens have been able to score a goal. So, yeah, that ain't not good whatsoever. So, very interesting to note there once again. 5-on-5 goals by line. The Aho line has 4. The Stahl line has 5. The Jankowski line has 3. And the Stankoven line has 17. They have more goals than the 5-on-5 than the other 3 have put together. The other 3 lines put together, 5-on-5, have 12. The Stankoven line has 17. That is absurd. So very interesting to note there. And yeah, it's been almost 145 minutes for the Montreal Canadiens since they last scored a goal on Frederik Andersen. So yeah, it's not looking overly good. Let's see what else happens here. Habs do have it the blue line, and that's going to be whipped around the boards to Caulfield. And Caulfield and Suzuki trying to fight for it. And now it's flipped into the neutral zone. And Montreal trying to get the puck away from Carolina, and they can't. Nice play there. However, it's kept in by, I think that was Aho. And Carolina's got the puck again. Sends it around the boards. Montreal with the intercept. And they send it back into the zone. So solid play there from the Montreal Canadiens. Let's see here. Hold on a minute here, folks. Hold on a minute here. Let's see. Hold on a minute here, folks. Okay, so the Hurricanes now have the puck in the neutral zone. Jarvis turns it over, gets it back, sends it across to Slavin, who just dumps it down as both teams are going off on changes. So very interesting to note there. 4-0 right now for the Carolina Hurricanes over the Montreal Canadiens. Let's see here. 4:20 left in the second period. Montreal sends into the offensive zone. However, Carolina gets there first. I think Montreal is offside, and Carolina is going to be able to regain possession and set something up here. Along the boards, turned over. Evans sends it to one of the other players, Bolduc, to Doc. Doc is going to send it back to Matheson, shoots, and that one stopped. And now the Hurricanes trying to get the puck out. They are able to for a second, and now they are. And now the Hurricanes turn over in the neutral zone, and Montreal gets the puck back in their own zone. Under 4 to go in the second period, 4-0 Carolina. Doc making some moves, shoots, and that one's going to be stopped. A shot from Evans, and that one's going to be stopped by Frederick Anderson. And now the Carolina Hurricanes have the puck. Jackson Blake. Blake into the offensive zone, and they dump it down. And I think there's a penalty on the play here, or is this offside? Let's see here exactly what the call is. It looks like Montreal may be getting another penalty, which they do not need at this point. Let's see exactly what the call is. Hold on a minute here, folks. Let's see here. Sent all the way down into the offensive zone. And let's see. I didn't see what happened here. Doc, maybe it was Doc who did something. Let's see here. It might be a slashing call on Kirby Doc. So it looks like Doc might be the one going to the penalty box here. Montreal's just taking out their frustration at this point. Oh, it's actually too many men bench minor. Okay, so it's nothing that Doc did once again. So it's a minor for too many men on the ice. And, oh boy, it's now another power play for the Carolina Hurricanes. They haven't struck yet, but who knows if they might do it right now. Let's see. Hold on here, folks. Carolina's waving their towels. The fans are. 2 shots so far. 0 for 3 on the power play tonight for the Hurricanes. They got their 4th of the power play here. Once again, nice play there. Slavin gets across, shoots. Stopped by Dobesh, and he's going to hold on for a whistle 6 seconds into the power play. So very interesting to note there. 3.5 left to go here in the second period. Shots are currently 21-10 in favor of the Carolina Hurricanes. So very interesting to note there. Offensive face-off draw to the right of Jakub Dobesh. And the puck goes back to the point for the Hurricanes. Slavin tips it in. And now the Hurricanes have it a little bit. Shot stopped. Nice stop there on Jakub Dobesh. And now Carolina sends it across. Pass in front, and that one's going to be just a little bit wide. Carolina's got the puck again. And Jake Evans gets it, clears the puck down the ice. That's all they can do at this point. Montreal needs to kill this off if they're going to have any chance of coming back. And even right now, it looks like the comeback's very, very slim. 1.5 left in the power play. 3 minutes left in the second period with Carolina running away with this game here against the Montreal Canadiens. Miller across into the offensive zone is Slavin, or actually it might be Jarvis, to Aho, to Gostisbehere. Gostisbehere to Ehlers. Ehlers looking for a passing lane, gets it back to Gostisbehere. And now Gostisbehere gets it again after the fumble in the play. Gostisbehere sends it across to Svechnikov, to Jarvis, back to Gostisbehere, to Ehlers. Ehlers walking in to Jarvis. Aho shoots! And that one stopped. However, the puck is able to stay in. Nice play there. The Canes are able to gain possession again. Gostisbehere. Gostisbehere is going to send it to, let's see here, he gets back to the point. Gostisbehere walks in, passes it across to Aho. Aho, 35 seconds left on the power play. Gets it back to Ehlers. Ehlers across to Jarvis, back to Ehlers. Ehlers at the point, looking for a passing lane, tipped in front. Gostisbehere goes after it, and they score again. Hurricanes got another one. I think that one will go to Shane Gostisbehere. 5-0 Hurricanes with 2 minutes left here in the second period. I think this game's pretty much over at this point. Once again, it's been all Carolina in tonight's game, and they're just going to increase the lead to 5-0. Yep, Gostisbehere with another one. I think he had one in the last game, so Gostisbehere's heating up, and I do not foresee a Montreal comeback at this point. Once again, they're a really young team. Getting to the conference final was really good, but I think we can just safely say at this point in time, Carolina is just that good. Once again, 5-hole from Gostisbehere on Jakub Dobesh. Nice pass from Ehlers. And yeah, it's all Carolina at this point. I was hoping for a close game, maybe a Montreal forcing game 6. But yeah, I think this game is basically over for the Montreal Canadiens. I don't see any way they can come back with the Hurricanes playing this good. 5-0 Carolina. Yeah, when will they get the touchdown? Like, you're just expecting a 6 and 7. Let's just say Stan Coleman's going to get the 6th and the 7th and get the hat trick. Once again, Carolina Hurricanes in the offensive zone again. Tipped in front. Ehlers tried to put one on net, could not. Now they get the puck back again. Once again, they're just coming in waves at this point. Montreal has no answer for Carolina's forecheck. Robinson going after it. and it's taken by the Montreal Canadiens, trying to do a little bit of a transition here. Minute and a half left in the second period. Demidov shot. That one goes wide. Montreal going after it, and they are going to be looking for the puck. Demidov has it. He's got some space. Pass in front, shoots! Oh, what a stop from Anderson. Can they beat this guy, please? At least like to see the Montreal Canadiens get one on Anderson. Once again, a minute, 10 seconds left in the second period here. Back to the point to Struble. Struble with a shot tipped in front. And is that a goal? Nope. Anderson with another nice stop. Minute, 5 seconds left, which is very, very interesting. Shot to 24-13 in favor of the Hurricanes. And it is 5-0 Carolina. My gosh. Once again, some really good options here for the Hurricanes. Looks like we will be getting a Carolina-Vegas Stanley Cup Final starting on Tuesday. Once again, I know we still got 21 minutes left in this game, but it just feels like it's. Once again, Anderson allowed 2 goals or fewer in 11 of 12 starts in the 2026 playoffs. I think that's going to go to 12 of 13. Because after that first game against Montreal, he's been dialed in. You could give the if there is going to be Carolina Vegas, which it most likely will be, you're going to have options of probably one of the players in the Stankoven line or Anderson being the consummate winner for Carolina, and you're probably going to be able to have like Hart, maybe Eichel, maybe Marner, maybe one of those other lower end guys be a sort of consummate winners for Vegas. Like I think there'll be a couple of decent consummate potentials for a Carolina Vegas Stanley Cup Final. Let's see here. It's dumped back in by Carolina. 37 seconds left in the second period. I think Montreal just wants to get out of there. They didn't want to play another period of hockey. Once again, we'll see if they're able to get something going in the third period. But yeah, it's not looking good. Caulfield behind the net. Gets it around. Matheson up to play it. 20 seconds left in the second period. Let's see here. 19 seconds now. Montreal trying to fight for it. Get on goal. Shoots. And that one's going to be stopped by Anderson. The puck goes into the neutral zone, and Carrier's got it again. 8 seconds left for the Habs, and the puck is stopped in the Carolina zone. Montreal intercepts it. Nice play there. They get past, shoots, stopped by Anderson, and that's going to do it for the second period. 5-0 Hurricanes at intermission. Wow. I was not expecting this. I was expecting Montreal to come out firing. Carolina's kept to their game plan, and they just have absolutely suffocated the life of the Montreal Canadiens. Once again, really quickly here, we are going to, let's see here, move this to intermission. We'll give you the intermission report, talk about a couple of other things, but yeah, man, it's just looking ugly here for the Montreal Canadiens. Let's see here. That one's good over there. So once again, we're going to have about 17-ish minutes left in intermission, and then we're going to be able to go back to play-by-play for the third period, and we'll see what the Carolina Hurricanes do with the President of Wales trophy. But yeah, so it's looking very much likely like the Carolina Hurricanes are going to win. So let's see here. Hold on a minute here, folks. So let's see. It was 14 minutes. Hold on, I just want to see exactly how long it's been because it's been 100 minutes in the last 2 games. They have not scored a goal. And then the last goal they scored was at 4:43 of the second in game 3. So that's 17, so that's 15-17, 35-17, 49-23. So it has been 149 minutes and 23 seconds since the Montreal Canadiens have scored their last goal. I don't know if they'll be able to get one tonight, but I'm just going to put this here. It has been 149-23 since Montreal last scored, which is absurd. So hold on a minute here, folks. Just give me one quick second here. It has been 149 minutes, 23 seconds since Montreal last scored, which is absurd. So very interesting to note there. Once again, we are in intermission, so you guys are not missing a thing. I'm just going to change it over here to Friday. Okay, so let's see. So shots after the second period are currently 24-15 in favor of the Hurricanes. So still have a decisive shot advantage. They're up now 5-0. The second period goals, Jackson Blake from Hull and Stankoven at the 7:19 mark of the second period. And then with a minute 58 seconds left, power play goal from Gostisbehere, assisted by Jarvis and Ehlers, making it 5-0 Hurricanes. Hurricanes, which is where we sit right now. Once the game face-off percentages are in the Hurricanes' favor, 55.6%, as they have won 20 of 36 draws, so good stuff there. Hurricanes are 1 for 4 on the power play, so they're running out 25% power play right now, with the Habs 0 for 3. So Habs have not been having really good success on the power play. Hits in favor of Carolina 14-8. Block shots in favor of Carolina 6-3. Giveaways in favor of Carolina 15-5. And takeaways in favor of Carolina 5-2. So very interesting to note there, but yeah, it's been all Carolina in tonight's game. Once again, after tonight, I'm going to hopefully try and post at least a couple of our off-season previews. If you guys haven't checked them out already, I have a couple already. I think 9 of them on the channel. The 16 teams to miss the playoffs, plus odd one Los Angeles. So if you guys want to check them out, I really suggest you do so. We're going to have a Dallas-Pittsburgh one and an Edmonton-Boston one. They'll either come out later tonight, or if they don't get posted by 11 p.m. Mountain Time, then they'll probably get posted tomorrow morning. So that's very interesting to note there. I'm also planning on doing a trade rumor video either tomorrow or Sunday. I'm probably going to record it tomorrow, hopefully post it tomorrow. I might post it on Sunday. We're going to get a fan reaction to this game tomorrow. So very interesting to note there. And then on top of that, with the way things are looking right now, here's what my preliminary schedule for next week would be. Once again, not everything's concrete yet, but it's heading that direction. So if the Hurricanes do win today, we're probably going to have What If the NHL Has script on Monday. We're going to have our power rankings, our final power rankings of the 25-26 season, and our playoff predictions on Tuesday. So that's probably what we're going to have for Tuesday, along with Game 1 live stream for Hurricanes and Knights Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, which would start on Tuesday if the score stays. Wednesday, we'll probably have a game recap or a fan reaction for that Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. And we'll also have a trade rumor video. Thursday, we'll probably just do an off-season preview video. Friday, we'll have a fan reaction. We'll have a game recap. And we'll also have another off-season preview video. The 2 off-season preview videos I'm planning on doing next week are Utah-Tampa and Minnesota-Philadelphia. So those are 2 off-season preview videos I'm planning on doing next week. And then on Saturday, we'll probably have a trade rumor video, maybe a Game 3 live stream, depending on how the first 2 games go. And then on Sunday, we'll definitely have a fan reaction. So that's currently my preliminary schedule for next week. And once again, if there are trades, big pieces of news, I might have some shorts or smaller videos also throughout next week. But at this current point in time, we're probably going to have What the NHL Has script on Monday, power rankings and playoff predictions on Tuesday, as well as a live stream of Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. We'll have trade rumor fan reaction on Wednesday. We'll have a off-season preview on Thursday. We'll have off-season preview, a game recap, and a fan reaction on Friday. And then we'll have a potential live stream for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final on Saturday. And we'll also have a trade rumor video with a fan reaction video happening on Sunday. So that's currently my basis for my upcoming postages over the next little bit. So very interesting to note that we're only actually 2 days away from the start of June. So yeah, as of I think Monday, it will be the month of the draft and 1 month till free agency. So like off-season mode's coming up quickly. So as we are going out slowly of as we are slowly going out of playoff mode, we are going to be going into off-season mode. So like we're going to have a couple more extra news rumor videos over the next couple of weeks. We're going to have more fan reactions, shorts, trade updates, things like that over the next couple of weeks. We're probably going to have a free agent board posted on our blog. We're going to have a trade board posted on our blog. We're going to have some more blog posts on my blog, which I do run. It's not as consistent as my YouTube channel, but I still do run it. So hopefully you guys are able to stay tuned for all these off-season action that we're going to be seeing over the next little bit. So very interesting to note there. We'll just really quickly see how long until the start of the third period here. Yeah, still a couple of minutes. So once again, so we'll probably stream Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, which will probably play on Tuesday, barring any sort of miracle from Montreal. And then on Thursday, I probably won't stream game two. And then depending on how game one and game two go, I'll either stream game three or game four. So I might have two live streams next week with game one of the Stanley Cup Final, potentially game three of the Stanley Cup Final. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. And then, like I said, I'm probably going to do every single sudden death one with a potential elimination. So I'm probably going to live stream potential game five, six, and seven if they do happen. So that'll be very interesting to note there. Once again, next week will be my last power rankings video. The week after will probably be my last what if the NHL has script video. I might do one after the draft and free agency, but I'm probably not going to do very much for what if the NHL has script for the rest of the off season beyond free agency and maybe a draft one. So we'll see about that. We got 5 more off season previews after this, 2 that I've already recorded that haven't posted yet to finish, and then we're going to be done with the off-season previews. We'll have season previews in August and September, but that's not going to be for a while. We're going to have to wait and see how the first bit of free agency, how the draft plays out before I do anything like that. On top of that, like we said, we're going to have more news and rumor videos coming over the next little bit. We're going to have more fan reactions, potentially to big trades that happen. We might do a couple of news updates, trade updates, things like that. We're going to have to see who ends up filling in the Nashville Predators GM position, who ends up going to head coaching the Kings, the Oilers, potentially the Knights, the Leafs, and the Canucks for next year. Maybe even the Avalanche if they do wind up deciding to fire Bednar, which has been discussed a little bit. And like I said, I do expect there to be a lot of movement, like trade-wise, free agency-wise, not as much, but maybe that we see a couple of offer sheets this year. Who knows? So yeah, it is coming to an end. We only got probably, if this game does finish, like 4 to 7 games left in the playoffs, and then we're done with the postseason, and then we'll be going to the off season. So it'll be very interesting to see how the off season goes. Like we said, after the Stanley Cup Final, the last Stanley Cup Final, our next live stream would be for the draft on June 26th. I think it'd be like 6 p.m. Mountain Time or 5 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to double check that. But yes, we will be doing the live draft stream as we usually do. And then we're also going to be doing a live draft stream for rounds 2 through 4 on Saturday morning. There's usually a whole bunch of trades that happen on Saturday morning too. When the second round kicks off, so that's going to be very interesting. And then we're probably going to do a live stream. I think it's on Tuesday or Wednesday on July 1st for the free agency, but it probably won't be an overly big one. So once again, those are my next few videos. I'm also probably going to have a couple more mock drafts, over the next couple weeks. Probably won't do one next week with the start of the Stanley Cup Final and everything. But maybe the week after we'll do like a full 32 with some trades, and then I'll do one maybe like a week before or just a couple of days before the actual draft, giving my final mock draft, probably on like Monday or Tuesday, maybe Sunday before the draft happens, depending on how many trades wind up happening. So it'll be very interesting to see there. So those are sort of what we're going to be seeing. We're going to have some more mock drafts over the next little bit. We're going to finish up the off-season previews. We're going to have more news and rumors, probably some shorts, maybe some skits. We're probably going to have maybe 1-2 more what if the NHL has script for the off season. So yeah, we're going to have some things. If you guys haven't already, leave a like and comment down below. We're trying to hit 700 subscribers before we end tonight's live stream. So if you haven't already, leave a subscribe if you like the content. I really do appreciate it. Hold on a minute here, folks. I'm just going to really quickly check. So we still have about 5 minutes here before the start of the third period. It'll be interesting to see if the Carolina Hurricanes do wind up picking up the Prince of Wales Trophy or not. We saw the Golden Knights did not pick up the Clarence Campbell Bowl, so it'll be very interesting to see there. Hold on a minute here, folks. Just going to really quickly check things here. Yes, it looks like we're about 2 subscribers away from 700. So if you guys can hit that subscribe button, we're trying to hit 700 subscribers before tonight's live stream ends, which will be really, really good stuff there. So I really do appreciate all of you guys for your support and for helping me continue on with the first ever end-to-end hockey live streams for play-by-play action. I'm hoping to continue on this next year. Probably won't do very many regular season games, if any, but I'm definitely going to be definitely so long as I'm still able to. I will be doing this next year too, play-by-plays a couple times a week. Probably will do a little bit more than we did this past year. So like maybe 5 times a week we'll do a live stream instead of like 4 to 3 times. Maybe we do all the conference final and Stanley Cup final games. Maybe we'll see. It's definitely going to be some big commitments, but I definitely do like the support I've gotten from you guys for these broadcast sorts of videos, and I'm hoping to continue this on into next year. So I do appreciate all of you guys for your support with all of that. Like I said, we're going to have some very interesting off-season content. Like we said, we've only got about 4 to 7 games left in the playoffs. So, yeah, the playoffs are going to be ending in the very near future. But like we said, we got the draft coming up in June. We've got free agency on July 1st. There's probably going to be a slew of trades that happen. So I'm going to have updates regarding trades, my thoughts on those things, potentially maybe a couple of skits. So we'll see how everything plays out, but that is my current goal for the upcoming off season. Once again, June, July, at least the first half of July, usually you're able to get enough content, news, and updates and things like that that I'm going to be able to be pretty busy in June and July. August is usually when it starts to get a little bit slow, so we'll have to figure out some things to do in August and September. But once again, it'll be very interesting. Remember, next year we've got the 84 game schedule, so I think they are starting a couple of weeks earlier. I think they're starting like the last week of September for the regular season, so it's not going to be as long of a wait as it has been the past couple of years for the start of the regular season, but it's still going to be a pretty big wait. And once again, August is usually the dead month for the NHL. June, you got a lot of trades, you got the hype up to the draft. July, you've got free agency starting, more teams making some moves. You got the start of arbitration and things like that. So I definitely do think we're going to be able to get some pretty busy stuff over June and July, even after the Stanley Cup ends. But yeah, so it's going to be slowly transitioning now from the playoffs. We're going to do a lot more off-season content. So we're going to have mock drafts out for you guys in the next couple of weeks. We're going to have more news and rumor videos per week. We're probably going to have some more skits. We're going to have some more trade rumors. We're going to have some more fan reactions to like big trades and things like that. So it's going to be very interesting. But I do appreciate all of you guys' support for the broadcast sort of settings here. Once again, I would never be able to without all of you guys, and the support I've gotten through round 1 through round 3 has been phenomenal. So I do appreciate all of you guys for your support, and I do thank you for it. Let's see here. I'm just going to change this over to the third period once again. I just mentioned the schedule for next week because I have a high doubt. I don't think there's very much chance here for the Montreal Canadiens to come back. Like, I don't really see it happening. So I think we're probably going to get a Carolina-Vegas final that starts on Tuesday. And if that is true, I will be streaming Game 1 in Carolina on Tuesday, which will be my next live stream. So that'll be very interesting. I do appreciate your support, Marshall, and I thank you for it. Just double checking here how long I have left in intermission. Let's see. Hold on a minute here, folks. Yeah, there's about 2 minutes left in intermission, so we are going to set this back up here. And that will be good. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below if you guys are viewing and you haven't subscribed yet. Subscribe. We're trying to hit 700 subscribers before the stream ends. But if you guys can leave a chat down below, let your guys' thoughts on what you think might be some of the bigger moves we see this offseason. Could it involve Toronto, Philadelphia, St. Louis, some of the top-end draft picks in this upcoming draft? Love to hear your guys' thoughts on some big moves we could potentially see in the offseason, because the offseason is actually coming up quite quicker than you guys probably expect. So very interesting to note there. Looks like we're just about to get started here for the start of the third period. And once again, I will be staying a little bit after the game actually ends to see the Carolina Hurricanes get the Prince of Wales trophy. So very interesting to note there. It will be interesting to see if they do wind up picking it up or if they don't touch it like the Vegas Golden Knights did. So it'll be very interesting to note there. Once again, Carolina will have home ice advantage. So games 1, 2, 5, and 7 would be in Carolina, and games 3, 4, and 6 will be in Vegas. So that'll be very interesting to note there. Once again, earlier in the year, when Buffalo wasn't in, when I don't think Ottawa or Montreal was in, I did predict the Carolina Hurricanes a couple of times in some of my earlier playoff predictions to make this Stanley Cup Final, because I thought that this might be their year. Once Buffalo started to turn up the heat and Montreal looked really good, I started to get away from Carolina making the Stanley Cup Final. But alas, they've done fantastic, and it looks like they're about to exercise one of their longest demons, because they have not been in the Stanley Cup Final for 20 years. They made it to 2 Stanley Cup Finals in their first, I think, 10 or 9 years of existence, and they haven't been to the Stanley Cup Final in 20 years. So I think Carolina Hurricanes fans are deserving of making it to the Stanley Cup Final. As much as it's not a Canadian team, we're going to have the Canadian team droughts last a little bit longer. I'm not too upset with the Carolina Hurricanes. Like I said, I'd love to see Vegas win because I am a Vegas fan, but seeing Carolina win their second Stanley Cup would not be terrible. So it'll be very interesting to see how that game goes tomorrow. Let's see here. Once again, we are just about to start the third period here. Once again, it's been all Carolina so far. 3 goals in the first, 2 goals in the second, up 5-0 entering the third period. So they've been fantastic. And yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens here in the third. Do the Canes score some more goals? Can the Habs make it a game? We'll have to wait and see. I don't foresee a Montreal Canadiens comeback, but yeah, it'll be very interesting. And yeah, that second line of Blake, Stankoven, and Hall has been absurd for the Carolina Hurricanes. So, I mean, Stankoven, Hall, Blake, I think they all got to be in the Conn Smythe conversation if the Hurricanes win the Stanley Cup. I got to think that. So, very interesting to note there. And once again, it's been almost 150 minutes since the Carolina Hurricanes, since the Montreal Canadiens last scored a goal, which is absolutely crazy. So, very interesting to note there. Let's see here, guys. Once again, you guys are not missing a thing. So let's see here. They're just up close viewing Rod Brindamore here on the bench. Once again, face-off dot. Stahl wins it, and Carolina's got all on the boards. Let's see here. Carolina's got the puck, and they turn it over. And now Montreal gets it back into the neutral zone. Stahl, interception. Here come the Habs. Shot wide, and that's stopped by Anderson. Carolina gets the puck back into the neutral zone. Chase after it. 20 seconds gone here. Carolina going after it, and Montreal's going to get there first. Gooley behind the nets, trying to be taken off the puck by Stahl. Could not get there. And now Montreal's got the puck. Lane Hudson. Hudson below his goal line, trying to get something going. And let's see here. Hudson. Long stretch feed here. And now maybe a little bit of a break here for Montreal finally, but it's a little bit too far for one of the Habs players. Carolina's going to get there first, chip it off the boards, and they can't get it out this time. Carrier keeps it in. Nice play there. And Slavkovsky trying to get that puck loose. The puck goes into the front of the net, but there's no Habs there. Now Stankoven racing into the offensive zone. Drops it for Hall. Hall is going to whip it around the boards. Stankoven trying to get there first. He is able to, gets it to the point. Back around the boards. Hall goes in after it. Can't get there first, but Blake does. Blake sends it around the boards, but there's no Canes there. Stankoven, though, racing for it. Hall almost had it in front, but he just could not get a piece of it. Alex Carrier. Carrier in his own zone. He's just going to carry the puck into the Carolina zone as both teams go off on a change. Minute and a half gone in the third period. That's a very interesting potential, Marshall. Toronto getting a solid defenseman and Dunn. Seattle getting Riley and Hildeby, I think wouldn't be a bad deal there. Gossesbear's got deep in, and Montreal's going to get there first. Dobson sends it back for Struble. Sends it back to Dobson. Dobson turns the puck over, and Struble's going to be able to recover it for the Habs, and they are able to get the puck out. And now maybe a little break here for the Habs, and they can't connect. Deneau tried to get to Anderson, but nice stick there from the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's see. Montreal's got it back to the point. Shoots! And that one's stopped. And now Carolina's got it. Sends it around to, I think that might be an icing call, actually. Yep, an icing call. Struble's going to get there first. 2 minutes and 22 seconds gone. So, yeah, Riley for Hildeby in a second for Dunn. Wouldn't actually be a bad pickup there. Once again, Dunn's going to be an interesting name to watch out for because he is in the final year of his deal. Seattle's not going anywhere fast. Riley's from Western Canada, so Seattle wouldn't be a terrible place to go. And I think Seattle could probably use a backup goaltender like Hildeby in a second-round pick. So, that's not a bad pickup here. I do wonder what happens with Morgan Riley in this year's offseason. It sounds like the Leafs are gearing up to trade him. So I think Riley's time in Toronto's coming to an end. It's just a matter of where he winds up going. Montreal in, shoots, stop, rebound, and that one goes way wide. Montreal the point. Goalie with a tip in front, and they can't get there. Montreal's got it again. It's Evans, and he tries to send it for Goalie, can't. It goes all the way down back into the Montreal zone. It's now been 152 minutes since the Montreal Canadiens' last goal. Montreal trying to at least break the shutout bid for Frederik Andersen. Hudson sends it back, and Evans around the boards gets it, and Carolina's going to get the puck back. Interception. Pass across. Evans with a backhand trying to feed it across. They can't connect again. Shots are currently 24-16 for the Hurricanes. Centered it back to the point. Lane Hudson shoots. And that one stopped. And the puck behind the goal line. Robinson going after it along with Carrier. Slavin gets the puck first. And Carolina's just able to chip it back into the neutral zone. Both teams go off on changes. There's 3 minutes and 20 seconds gone in the third period. Still 5-0 Canes. Hudson's got it below the goal line. Trying to set something up here. Hudson, stretch feed off the boards, tipped into the offensive zone, and Carolina's going to get there first. Stopped up, nice play there from the Habs. Suzuki is going to lose the puck. Carolina's now got it, and maybe a 3-on-2 break here for the Canes. Martinuk to Stahl, back to Martinuk, shoots. And that one's going to be stopped. Now Montreal has the puck. Montreal trying to get a little bit of a breakout here. Suzuki sends it deep. Remember, Suzuki's playing right now with Demidov and Caulfield. Demidov can't get there. Suzuki is able to get the puck before Carolina is able to. And Montreal's got the puck in their own zone. 15:55 left in the third period. 5-0 Canes. Montreal is going to send it back into the neutral zone. And they turn it over. Here come the Carolina Hurricanes in. Again, shoots, stop, and the rebound goes right to one of the Montreal Canadiens players. Nice try there from Blake to try and get his second of the game. Montreal off the boards. Nice play there. Gosselberg gets it, interception. And now the Canes once again. A little bit too far for Blake. This one I think is going to be an icing call, and it is. 15:29 left in the third period. 5-0 Hurricanes. Once again, if you guys haven't already, leave a subscribe on the subscribe button. We're trying to hit 700 subscribers before the live stream ends. So if you like my content and you haven't subscribed already, definitely suggest you do so. We're going to have more content coming out over the off season. So very interesting to know there, and for the Stanley Cup Final. Offensive face-off draw here for the Habs. It is, I think, Evans, and he is able to win it. Shot at the point, goes up and over the net. Carolina gets it just ever so slightly out. Montreal has to regroup in the neutral zone. Nice chip in there. Carolina's got it in their own zone, and they send it into the neutral zone. And Montreal's Dobson, I think, lost an edge. Carolina's just got it. They send it in on goal. Dobish is just going to play it out. Once again, I think Carolina's just content to just keep on dumping it down into the Montreal zone. 15 minutes left in the third period, and it is currently 5-0 Hurricanes. Once again, Canes trying to ice this game and make it to the Stanley Cup Final, and I think that puck was deflected out of play, or it might be a delay of game penalty. I'm not exactly sure. 14:54 left in the third period, 5-0 Hurricanes. I think it was just deflected, so it was offensive zone face-off draw for the Hurricanes. In this, to the right of Jakub Dobesh. That's the no in the face-off dot against Sebastian Aho. And Deneau loses it. But they're going to actually redo the face-off. So Aho and Deneau are going to be going back to the center mark, or to the face-off dot to the right of Jakub Dobesh. So very interesting to note there. Once again, 5 minutes, 6 seconds gone in the third period. Carolina wins it, but goes right back to Montreal. Goulier on the boards, trying to tip it into the offensive zone, can't. And now Montreal does get possession, but there's another stoppage in play here. I'm not sure if this puck went out of the zone or not. We'll have to wait and see here, but there was definitely a stoppage in play. 14:46 left in the third period. Let's see here, folks. Just give me one quick second. And let's see here. Once again, they're just viewing in Jacob Fowler along the bench. It's going to be a neutral zone face-off draw that Carolina loses. Montreal gets the puck back, and they're going to try and set something up. Habs are going to turn over. Carolina's got the puck. Svechnikov, nice play. They're just making some fancy passing at this point. Hudson turns it over. However, Dobish knocks the puck around the boards. The Habs are able to get the puck there first. Anderson sends it deep into the Carolina zone, and now the puck is taken by the Hurricanes. In their own zone, 14:20 left in the third period. Aho sends it to, I think that's Goss or Slavin, actually. Slavin across the Chatfield. Chatfield sends it deep, tipped in by one of the Hurricanes players. Dobish behind his own net, stops it up, and the Habs get the puck back. Nice little pass there. And now trying to get a stretch feed, can't. This one might be going for icing, and it is. So offensive face-off draw for the Hurricanes with 13:59 left in the third period. So very interesting to note there. Once again, Hurricanes trying to ice this game and finish it up, and the Montreal Canadiens trying to send it to a Game 6, but that is looking highly unlikely at this point. Looks like we're about to have a Carolina Hurricanes Vegas Golden Knights Stanley Cup Final matchup. Once again, it is Jankowski in the faceoff dot. Canes do keep the puck in the offensive zone. Gossesberg tipped in by Carrier. Dobish is able to get it to Evans, and Evans has got below the goal line, and Dobish goes to get the loose stick that fell behind the net, and now Evans stops up, and he's going to try and backhand one off the glass into the neutral zone. Habs are able to get there for a second. 13.5 left here in the third period. Canes have the puck in the offensive zone, or in the neutral zone, mind you, and now the puck is into the offensive zone. And now Carolina going chasing after it. Montreal in their own zone, trying to get around. Matheson, nice play. And the Habs try a stretch feed to Evans, cannot get there. Carolina intercepts the puck, sends it right back into the Montreal zone. 13 minutes left here in the third period. It's Demidov around the boards. Nice little play there. Tried to get to Suzuki, could not. Anderson stops it up, and the puck is sent back into the neutral zone. Carolina chasing in after it. That is Jordan Stahl. He's not going to be able to get there first. Habs get there. It's a little bit of a trip there. I think there's going to be a penalty here on the Carolina Hurricanes. Demidov, or Dobson actually, into the offensive zone, and that's going to be touched up. So power play for the Habs. Stahl goes to the penalty box, and this game gets prolonged a little bit longer. Once again, we're going to a commercial break, so you are not missing a thing. Stahl tripped, or it may have not been Stahl, might have been someone else, but either way, there's a tripping call in Struble, and that's going to lead us to another commercial break, so you're not missing a thing. Imagine Anderson pitches a shutout in this game, too. Like, he will have gone if he does pitch the shutout for the entirety of the game. 169 minutes to end this series without letting in a goal, which would be absolutely crazy. So very interesting to note there. Like, Anderson's been fantastic the entirety of the playoffs. I didn't even think it was going to be a starting goaltender for the playoffs. Like, after the season Brendan Boosie had, I thought for sure when I was doing my first round predictions that Boosie was going to be in the goaltending crease for the Carolina Hurricanes, but they decided to go with the veteran. They decided to go with Frederik Andersen. He has been phenomenal ever since being put back in the starting crease. And on top of that, Frederik Andersen also hasn't run into any injuries. Once again, he's been a very injury-riddled goaltender over the past couple of years. He was injured a whole bunch this year, too. And he's been able to overcome all of his injuries in the regular season, and he's been relatively healthy in the postseason. So, once again, really good stuff there for Freddie Andersen. We'll see if the Hurricanes or the Knights are going to be able to lift the Stanley Cup. It'll be very interesting to see who ends up getting it done in the Stanley Cup Final. Once again, with the scoreline sort of like it is right now, I don't foresee a Montreal comeback. So if that is true, then Carolina's going to win this game. And my next live stream will be on Tuesday for game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. So very interesting to note there. Let's see here, folks. We're back here in Carolina. And once again, this is actually going to be the place where the Stanley Cup Final is going to be played. So the Hurricanes aren't going to have to travel anywhere or anything. Vegas is just going to go to the Lenovo Center, and first game and the first and second game of this series in the Stanley Cup Final will be in Carolina. Once again, the first 8 games In the last 15 potential series clinching games, the first 8 with the Hurricanes, Anderson was 0-8. The last few, he's been 6-1. So Anderson's been great in closeout games over the last couple of years. Once again, Habs are 0-3 on the shot clock here, with 1 shot on the power play so far tonight. Habs entering the offensive zone here. Suzuki sends over, nope. Taken away by Hurricanes, cleared it out. 12.5 minutes left here in the third period. Dobish leaves it for, I think that's Lane Hudson. Hudson skating his own zone, drops off for Suzuki. Suzuki enters the offensive zone. Suzuki is able to get the puck into the offensive zone, and Caulfield can't hold the line. Carolina clears it again. Minute 20 seconds left on the power play. 12:03 left, 12:01 left, 12 minutes left in the third period. Hudson's got it. Hudson sends it to Caulfield. Caulfield sends it to Suzuki. Suzuki is able to send it deep, and the Carolina Hurricanes can't get the puck out. Slavkovsky around the boards gets it back, and now I guess it's to Hudson. Hudson to, I think that's Caulfield. Demidov with a shot, and that one was blocked. Caulfield around to Demidov. Demidov trying to find some sort of passing lane. Gets to Slavkovsky with a shot. Tipped in front. And Anderson's going to make the save again for the Carolina Hurricanes. Once again, some rough stuff now bubbling over for the Hurricanes and the Habs in front of the net. 40 seconds left in the power play, 5-0 Carolina. And yeah, it's just not looking overly good. Over the last actually couple of years, we've actually had some pretty short, not Stanley Cup, but conference final series. Like last year, it was the Panthers in 5 games and the Oilers in 5 games. In 2024, it was the Panthers in 6 games over the Rangers, and I think it was the Oilers in 6 games over the Stars. In 2023, the Panthers swept the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Knights won 6 games over the Stars. This year, we're going to have a sweep in a 5-game series. So, like, the conference finals over the past couple of years have been really short. 2-1 break here for the Hurricanes, and a nice try there from Jankowski to Robinson, but he just could not put it home. Montreal still has 25 seconds on their power play, and it's Texier who stops up. 11 minutes left in the third period. And Texier's got the puck again. Entering the offensive zone. Carolina's got the puck around the boards and sent all the way down the ice with 8 seconds left. That's going to do it for the power play. Canes penalty kills now 4 for 4 on the night. So once again, Montreal's not been able to get anything going on the power play. 10:47 left in the third period. Let's see. Once again, the Carolina Hurricanes get the puck around the belt boards, and Nikolai Ehlers Stankoven to Blake, and he just can't get that puck in. Once again, the Montreal Canadiens have it in the neutral zone. Here come the Habs, sent around. Nice job there. Gossesbear's there first before Philippe Deneau. And Deneau trying to fight for that loose puck is not able to. Carolina's got the puck, and there's going to be a stoppage in play here. I wonder if there's another penalty. 10:17 left in the third period, and it looks like Gossesbear's going to the penalty box. There'll be another Montreal Canadiens power play here with just over halfway left in the third period and in the game, basically. Once again, I do appreciate the support, Marshall, and if you guys can, definitely subscribe. We're trying to hit 700 subscribers before the stream ends, and there's only probably going to be about 25 to 30 minutes left in the stream, so if you guys can, I really do appreciate it. Once again, we do a lot of hockey content here. We're going to have more playoff action for the Stanley Cup Final, and then we're also going to have a ton of off-season videos, so I hope you guys are able to stay tuned for that. Carolina trying to get around the boards, cannot, and now the Montreal Canadiens are able to get the puck back. Montreal, nice play. Demidov with a shot, and that one I think was blocked by one of the Hurricanes players and sent up and over the glass. I think that was Jordan Stahl who blocked that shot. So, once again, shots are currently 27-18 in favor of the Hurricanes. And once again, Montreal is just looking for one goal. Just end it on one goal. Do not end this Eastern Conference Final with 169 minutes, almost 170 minutes of game action without having scored a goal. Like, that would be absurd. So, once again, 10:06 left in the third for the Carolina Hurricanes to win the Eastern Conference Final, advance to the Stanley Cup. Demidov shot over the net. They've now gone 159 minutes and 23 seconds, or actually 159 minutes and 30 seconds now without having scored a goal. So that's absurd. Once again, shots just intercepted by Carolina, sent all the way down the ice. Montreal's got the puck, and Dalglish is going to leave it for Lane Hudson. Hudson, around the boards, is going to leave it. Nice play there from the Montreal Canadiens. And they send it into the offensive zone, and it's Nick Suzuki. Suzuki sends it back and sends it to Slavkovsky. He missed Caulfield. Caulfield around to Demidov. Missed it, but Hudson gets it. Put one on goal. Stopped by Anderson. Minute left, 9:19 in the third period. Montreal's got the puck. It's Keandre Miller who sends it back to the point, and an interception. Caulfield shoots and scores. The shutout bid is broken. The Habs finally got a goal. Oh my gosh. Holy moly, they finally got one. Hold on a minute here, folks. Let me just double check the time. Hold on a minute here. So 10 minutes will have been 159, and then 50 seconds will have been 43. So 47. So yeah, they just over 160-minute shutout for the Frederik Andersen, and the Habs blew it. So once again, they're at least able to get one on net. That's fantastic. Once again, that was, I think, a 160-minute shutout streak for Freddie Andersen. So at least they don't go scoreless in Game 5 without a goal. Good stuff for Cole Caulfield, but it's in a losing effort. Power play goal, there's 9 minutes left here in the third period, and it's now 5-1 Carolina. So at least they're able to break the shutout bid, but yeah, Montreal's got the puck in their own offensive zone again, taken by Carolina, and now trying to stretch feed here for the Hurricanes. Robinson going after it after the stretch feed from Carrier. That's Caulfield's 6th goal of the postseason, assisted by Hudson. And yeah, it's just not enough here for the Habs. Tried a little bit of a cheeky passing play, could not get it. And now here comes Carolina 3-on-2 into the offensive zone, passes it, tried to get to Gostisbehere, and he could not. Montreal gets the puck in their own zone, 8.5 left in the third period. They bring it into the offensive zone. Hold on a minute here, folks. Let's see, Carolina's got the puck. Gostisbehere. And nice stretch feed here from the Hurricanes, and turned it in for the Montreal Canadiens. And here comes a break for Montreal. 8 minutes left here in the third period. Shots, and that one's going to be stopped by Frederik Andersen. Dobson around the boards to Newhook, trying to center something, could not. Now Carolina's got the puck in the offensive zone again. Here come the Hurricanes, sending it around, and tipped in. Nice play there from Stankoven, and Robinson cannot get that puck loose, and Newhook is going to try and get something here, and they'll have turnover, maybe a little break here, 3-on-2 potentially for the Hurricanes. Stankoven drops off for Hall, and that's going to be stopped by Jakub Dobesh. So very interesting to note there. Once again, 7.5 left here in the third period and in the Montreal Canadiens season. Caulfield breaks the shutout streak at just over 160 minutes, but it's just not enough for the Montreal Canadiens tonight. And the Carolina Hurricanes are 7.5 away from going to the Stanley Cup Final. Once again, we do have a commercial break, so you are not missing a thing. So yeah, very interesting stuff so far from both sides, and we'll have to wait and see how it goes. So just really quickly, we're on a commercial break here. Just going to give you my next few days of posting here. So probably not tonight with how late this game is probably going. So probably tomorrow morning, I will post a couple of off-season preview videos. One is Pittsburgh. The other is Edmonton, Boston. So I'll probably try and post both of those off-season previews tomorrow. We're also going to take at least a trade rumor video and a fan reaction video for this game that happened here tonight between the Habs and the Canes. Once again, I'm hoping to post them tomorrow. It might be posted on Sunday, but either way, those ones are going to get posted. Then on Monday, we're going to have What If the NHL Has Script for the end of the conference finals. On Tuesday, we're going to have our last power rankings video of the 2025-2026 season, as well as having a playoff prediction, my predictions for a Stanley Cup Final, and we'll also be live streaming Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final between the Hurricanes and the Golden Knights. Then on Wednesday, we'll have a trade rumor video and a fan reaction video for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, and then Thursday, we're going to have an off-season preview video. So that's my current schedule. We're definitely going to be streaming Game 1 on Tuesday between the Hurricanes and the Knights. I think it'll probably be at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Once again, Stanley Cup Final in Carolina. So that'll be very interesting. And then on Thursday's Game 2, but I'm not planning on streaming Game 2. And then on Friday's Game 3, it does really depend on how the games go, but I might do Game 3 or Game 4. I'm not exactly sure. It depends on how Game 1 or 2 goes. So I might do one on Saturday, but I'm definitely going to do a live stream on Tuesday next week. So very interesting to note there. Montreal gets it around the boards. Carolina's now got the puck. They keep in the offensive zone. Martinook with 7.5 left in the third period, trying to get a pass. He's able to get it to Ehlers. Ehlers looking for a passing lane. And he gets it to Stahl. He just can't put it into the wide open cage. And now the Montreal Canadiens around the boards. And let's see here. Demidov's got it. And now it's intercepted 3-on-2 break here. It's Nikolai Ehlers. Nice pass around. And now the Carolina Hurricanes got it. It's Martinook. Around the boards, a couple of Hurricanes and Habs players are tied up at the top of the screen. And Montreal's now got it. Once again, in their own zone, 6:50 left in the third period. Gooley's just waiting for both teams to change up. Once again, we'll see if the Habs can maybe put one or two more past Freddie Anderson. But yeah, long stretch feed here for Kane Gooley, trying to get it around. Nice play there. Newhook shoots! And that's a fantastic, confident glove save from Freddie Anderson with 6.5 left in the third period. 5-1 for the Carolina Hurricanes. Once again, very interesting stuff here so far from the Habs and the Canes. And Frederik Andersen has been phenomenal in this game yet again. After giving up 6 goals in that first game, the next 4 games, he's given up a combined 5 goals, which is very similar to what he did against Philadelphia and against Ottawa. So I think it might have just been the fact that the rust was there in Game 1. They have the puck along the boards. Montreal gets it back into the offensive zone. Doc looking for it. He is able to get the puck in. Newhook looking for the pass, and he just extends it deep for the Carolina Hurricanes to recover it. 6:20 left in the third period. Stretch feed here for the Hurricanes. Aho goes in after it. However, he can't be out the icing. Matheson's going to get there first on offensive zone faceoff draw for the Montreal Canadiens. Once again, I will be staying with you guys for a couple of minutes afterwards, just until after the Prince of Wales trophy is handed out to the Carolina Hurricanes. It'll be very interesting to see if they touch it or not. Once again, the Golden Knights did not touch the Clarence Campbell Bowl, and they didn't do that in 2023 and won the Stanley Cup. They did touch it in 2018, lost the Stanley Cup Finals, so very interesting to note there. But will be interesting to see. Let's see, 5-1 here for the Carolina Hurricanes. 6 minutes left in the third period. Montreal wins the offensive zone faceoff draw, tries a centering pass, cannot get there. They whip it around the boards, back to the point. Dobson with a shot, easily turned aside by Freddie Anderson. Habs keep possession for the time being. Bolduc to Evans. Shot was, I think, deflected wide. Foligno's got it. Back to Bolduc. Bolduc sends it to Evans. Evans looking for a passing play, and he gets it around to Aho. Aho to Chatfield, and Chatfield is just going to send it into the neutral zone. 5:40 left in the Montreal Canadiens season. Here come the Carolina Hurricanes trying to beat out the icing call. They're able to, and Montreal's got the puck. Nice play there, turned over, and Carolina's able to get the puck back. Svechnikov flips it into the neutral zone, and Dobson stops it at the blue line. Once again, 5-1 Carolina. Dobson behind his own net, just stopping up and just waiting for things to happen here. 5:16 left here in the third period. Once again, very interesting stuff here so far. Habs have it in the neutral zone. Habs into the offensive zone and passes shots, and that is going to be cleared out by Carolina. Nice play there from the Hurricanes. And let's see here. Montreal's got the puck in their own zone. Montreal sending it around the boards. Nice play there. And they send it deep for Cole Caulfield. Caulfield leaves it for Demidov. Demidov tries a cross-ice feed. Too many bodies in front. 4:40 left in the third period. Now it's Demidov, or it's actually Gooley, and it's deflected up and out of play. So once again, very interesting to note there. Let's see here, folks. Just give me one quick second here, folks. Let's see. We're going to another commercial break. So 4:38 left in the third period, and it is 5-1 for the Hurricanes. So very interesting to know there. Like I said, I'll stay out with you guys for a couple of minutes afterwards to see the handshake line and the Prince of Wales Trophy be presented to the Carolina Hurricanes. And then after that's done, I'll probably end the stream there. So very interesting to note there. And I do appreciate all of you guys' support for all those streams that I do, for all the videos, for you guys watching the videos that I do. I really do appreciate all of your support. I would never be able to do it without all of you guys. So I really do appreciate it. On top of that, we are going to be doing, like we said, some more videos over the next little while. We got a couple of off-season preview videos already recorded and lined up to be posted over the next couple of days. We have another news and rumor video, a fan reaction video to the last game of the conference final. Next week, we've got What If the NHL Has Script, going to be a very interesting one. We've also got some other interesting ones. We've got our last power rankings of the season next week. We've got playoff predictions, our last one of those ones, predicting who I think will win the Stanley Cup. We're going to have our live stream on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. Once again, we're going to have a couple of other news rumor videos as well as off-season previews next week as well. So very interesting to note there. So we definitely have a very interesting next couple of days that are going to be happening. And like we said, we got a lot more videos coming out over the next couple of weeks leading up to the draft. We're going to live stream the draft as we usually do. So if you guys want to, leave a subscribe. It really does help with the channel. But we are going to be doing a live stream on Friday, Saturday at the end of June for the draft as we usually do. We're going to see lots of trade actions. We're going to have lots of news updates, maybe some skits, some fan reactions for any sort of like trades, big news, free agency, signing, things like that. So it'll be very interesting to note there. Once again, offensive zone faceoff draw for the Habs, 4.5 left in the third period, and they're going to redo the faceoff draw. So Montreal's going to get the faceoff, going to have the opportunity to win the faceoff dot here. Once again, I think it's Demidov out there. Once again, it's a 6-on-5 attack for the Habs. So, like, why the heck not? You're down 4 goals. Habs get the puck back into the offensive zone, into the point. Lane Hudson tries to pass across to Demidov, couldn't hit it. And the Habs do gain possession. Shoots to the front, and Anderson with a beautiful stop. Canes get the puck, send it all the way down the ice. And that one's going to be wide. It's going to be an icing call. Actually, there's no icing on the play. Carolina beat them out, and Martino just cannot get there. Canes trying to keep in the offensive zone. 4 minutes left here in the third period. Montreal's able to get the puck back in their own zone. 4-on-3 attack here for the Habs, and they turn it back over, and the puck goes all the way down the ice. This one might be an icing call. It doesn't look like it. 4 minutes left here in the third period for the Hurricanes and the Habs Eastern Conference Final. Once again, Habs lose it, and Carolina's got the puck around the boards. Carolina, nice play there. And yeah, it's now a 2-on-1. Aho gives it to, I think that was Jarvis, and Hurricanes are going to ice this game at 6-1. So, yeah, not too surprised there. 3:40 left in the third period, 6-1 for the Carolina Hurricanes in this game. And this series is over. So yeah, once again, I'll stay with you guys for the next few minutes, see the handshake line and the Prince of Wales Trophy be presented. But unlike last game, which was the not this series, but the last game I recorded, which was Game 4 of the Western Conference Final, where the Vegas Golden Knights were up in a nail biter, 2-0, and then 2-1 late, and there was a lot of nervousness about who's going to win. No question who's going to win here is the Carolina Hurricanes. They just absolutely dominated. The last 2 games, the Hurricanes outscored the Habs 10-1. That's not something you really want to see for your team when you are in the Eastern Conference Final, if you're the Habs fan. So, interesting note there, Aho Svechnikov with the assists, and it's 6-1 right now for the Canes, so they've put up a touchdown on the Habs, an unconverted one. Jankowski below the goal line has the puck in the offensive zone, 3:20 left. Jankowski puts one on net, and he can't put it in. Carrier's pass is a little bit too far, and the Hurricanes are able to get the puck back in their own zone. 3 minutes left. Bolduc trying to get away from Gostisbehere. Nikishin hit off the puck with one of the Habs players, and Habs are able to get it back in the neutral zone. And now here comes some passing plays. Evans has it. Evans looking for a passing lane, is able to get it back to the point or into the neutral zone, and Texier goes in after it. Texier hit off by Gostisbehere, 2:45 left here in the third period. Shot stopped by Anderson once again. At least the Habs have gotten a little bit more reasonable shots in this game. They have 23. So very interesting to note there. There's another stoppage in play with 2.5 left here in the third period. I don't know what the stoppage is for. It might be a penalty of some sorts. Let's see. Hold on a minute here, folks. There's a penalty on the play. It is let's see here. Hold on a minute here, folks. Did that say a major? Let's see here, folks. Hold on a minute. I don't know where the penalty was. Or maybe it was too many men on the ice for the Montreal Canadiens. So too many men on the ice. Too many men on the ice again for the Montreal Canadiens will lead the Carolina Hurricanes to a power play. So 2.5 left in the third period, 2 minutes left in the game 2 minutes on the power play, 2.5 left in the game, and 2.5 left in the Montreal Canadiens season. Like, they might score one more, but I'm putting the F for the finished game here. Like, the game's over at this point. Once again, Canes win the offensive zone. Nice passing play. Habs get it cleared down the ice. So you're going to see a lot of that over the next couple of minutes. Once again, this game's finished. Canes are content to just probably stay in their own zone, but they're going to bring it out here. Nice play there. Canes in the offensive zone. Nikishin is going to lose the puck to Matheson. 2:13 left in the third period in this game. Let's see here. Once again, Habs in their own zone. Nice play there. It's Evans. 2 minutes left exactly on the dots in the third period. Canes have it back in their own zone, and the Lenovo Center is probably very loud. I can't hear it, of course, but it's probably extraordinarily loud in there right now, and that place is buzzing to finally get back to the Stanley Cup Final. Once again, the Hurricanes are able to get the puck. Once again, let's see here. Nice pass across to Ehlers. Ehlers back across to Stahl to Martinuk, trying to put a shot on goal, is not able to. Montreal's got the puck, and it is Anderson who's trying to get the puck back. 1:20 left in the third period. Once again, it has been 20 years to the year since the Carolina Hurricanes have made it to the Stanley Cup Final. And it's taken them 19 years to win again in the Eastern Conference Final. They are now a minute away from finally reaching the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since 2006 when they won the Stanley Cup. Jankowski into the offensive zone. Jankowski passes it across to Blake. 15 seconds left on the power play, 50 seconds left in the game. Gostisbehere takes it back, 10 seconds left on the power play, 45 seconds left in the third period. Carolina's content to just wait out this clock, 40 seconds left, and the Carolina Hurricanes are about to move on to the Stanley Cup Final. 34 seconds left in the third period. Carolina trying to get that puck back. Dobish with a nice play. 29 seconds left. Montreal's got the puck in their own zone. Nice play there from the Habs. They're going to maybe try one more rush here. 22 seconds left in the third period. Evans cannot hold the line. Carolina's got the puck back in their own zone. Robinson just gets to the red line, dumps it down. 12 seconds left here in the third period. 10 seconds left here in the third period. And we're going to do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Carolina Hurricanes, for the first time in 20 years, have advanced past the Eastern Conference Final. And for the first time since 2006, when they won the Stanley Cup, they'll be fighting for getting the Stanley Cup back to Carolina. Game 1, which I will be streaming on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time in Carolina. We've got a Stanley Cup Final matchup of the Vegas Golden Knights and the Carolina Hurricanes. What a matchup that will be. The Pacific winning Knights, who won the worst division in the entire NHL, but swept the President's Trophy winning team in the Western Conference Final, take on the best team in the Eastern Conference in the Carolina Hurricanes, who are going to be looking for their first win in the Stanley Cup Final since 2006. What an effort there from the Carolina Hurricanes. Once again, I'll stay with you guys here until they present the Prince of Wales Trophy. So very good stuff there. Good things so far here for the Hurricanes and the Habs. So good stuff there. I do appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. If you guys can, leave a like down below and subscribe. We're trying to hit 700 subscribers before I end this live stream. If I don't, it's not that big of a deal, but it would be a great accomplishment if I was able to. Once again, they're just able to start with the handshake line. So very interesting. Their final shots were 29-24 in favor of the Montreal Canadiens. So once again, very good stuff there from the Habs. Once again, it was a magical one for the Montreal Canadiens. Like I don't think many people thought Montreal was going to get out of the second round, let alone get to the Eastern Conference Final. And that team has such a bright future. Like they have really good cap management. They have a lot of young players. They found their franchise goaltenders in both Dobish and Fowler, and they're just going to be keeping going up here. I would not be one bit surprised if they made a couple of tweaks in the lineup in the offseason, if they were able to get up to like the first spot in the Atlantic Division next year, maybe make it to the Stanley Cup Final next year. So very interesting to note there. But the Montreal Canadiens, after winning Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final, lose 4 straight and are eliminated from playoff contention. But my gosh, that team has a bright future. Once again, I expect Toronto to be back in the playoffs next year, and I expect Florida to be back in the playoffs next year. But with Montreal and Buffalo taking the steps they did this year, with Ottawa being a playoff team the past 2 seasons, how are they going to make it back into the postseason? Do they have to take out Tampa and Boston? I don't know exactly how that's all going to play out, but man, the Atlantic Division has such a bright future. Carolina wins the game, and they win the series. And they are Prince of Wales champions. So they're Eastern Conference champions, and they're going to win the Prince of Wales trophy. So very interesting to note there. Once again, they're just in the handshake line right now. Rob Brindamore shaking hands with all the players. So very interesting to note there. Once again, they're just talking. All of the coaches are. So very interesting to note there. Let's see here. Hold on a minute here, guys. They're probably going to be able to present the Prince of Wales trophy in just a couple of minutes. So just really quickly here for my future videos, our next live stream will be on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final between the Hurricanes and the Golden Knights. That will be on Tuesday. I'm not planning on streaming Game 2, but I might stream Game 3 on Saturday. It'll depend on how the first 2 games go. So we are definitely going to be streaming Game 1 on Tuesday, maybe Game 3 on Saturday. So we'll have to wait and see how all of that goes. For my upcoming videos, I'll have off-season preview videos for Stars and Penguins and Oilers and Bruins out tomorrow morning. So if you are Stars, Penguins, Oilers, or Bruins fans and you want to see what I think about those teams, how they did this past year, and how they're going to go in the very near future. Definitely stay tuned for that. Those videos coming out tomorrow. We'll also have another news and rumor video tomorrow or Sunday maybe, and a fan reaction to the 6-1 victory here for the Carolina Hurricanes tomorrow or Sunday. On Monday, we're planning on doing a What If the NHL Has script. So stay tuned for that one. It's going to be one heck of a video. On top of that, we've also got power rankings, our last of the season on Tuesday, our last playoff prediction video. We're going to be predicting who I think wins the Stanley Cup. Those are both going to be on Tuesday, leading up to our live stream of Game 1. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have a trade rumor video. Once again, another news and rumor video, as well as a fan reaction to Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. And on top of that, yeah, we might have some more other videos too. Not sure what's going to happen. There might be a big trade, a big signing, maybe some coaching movement. I have no idea. So, yeah, we might have some other videos too. So, very interesting to note there. Carolina's held around their bench. So, it'll be very interesting to see there. Once again, they're just about to be handed out the Prince of Wales trophy, and then I will be signing off. So once again, it's been a long time for the Carolina Hurricanes. Like Rob Brindamore has been such a good coach. They were built in such a good way. They made it out of the first round in 8 consecutive years. The Hurricanes made it out of the second round a couple of times, but they just were not able to find success in the Eastern Conference Final. And now they found success in the Eastern Conference Final. So once again, they've quadrupled their win total from the last 4 Eastern Conference Finals combined in this year's Eastern Conference Final by winning the series. So props to the Carolina Hurricanes. They're a really good team. They are the class of the Eastern Conference and the class of the Metro Division. Once again, I could see them potentially be back next year. I could see them once again maybe be ousted by like an Atlantic Division team, but I personally do not think and do not believe that any other Metro Division team, barring some team making some really good blockbuster moves this offseason, is going to be able to oust the Carolina Hurricanes as top team in the Metro Division. Like, that team is still there to stay for at least a couple more seasons. So very interesting to note there. Once again, yeah, I'm looking forward to game one on Tuesday as well. It's going to be a very interesting one. Like I said, I think it's probably going to be a lower scoring one. It's going to probably be a lower end scoring game and series, in my opinion. Probably a lot of 2-1, 3-2 games, but it's going to be exciting no matter what. Either the Hurricanes are going to win their first Stanley Cup Final since 2006 and second Cup Final in their franchise's history, or the Golden Knights are going to win their second Stanley Cup Final in franchise history. And as a Knights fan, I would love that. They're taking a picture with the Prince of Wales trophy right now, and it looks like they are not planning on touching the Prince of Wales trophy. So just like the Golden Knights, they did not touch the conference final winning trophy, and it looks like they are probably going to just, once again, let's see here, after they take the picture, all the coaches are going in now. So once again, we saw with the Golden Knights back on Tuesday how the Golden Knights said they were not going to touch it. Stone even told Bill Foley, do not touch it, the owner of the Golden Knights. So we'll see what happens here, but it looks like they're not going to be touching the trophy either. This is not the trophy the Carolina Hurricanes want to win. The one that they want to win is the Stanley Cup. So once again, we'll see here. Once again, they're just taking the picture. What a series from the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's see here how everything's going to finish out. All the moves they made in the offseason over the past year, they all worked out for them. Keandre Miller's had such a good season. Stankoven and Hall, who were big pieces of the Mikko Rantanen trade, really helped that team out. And yeah, it looks like they're not going to touch the trophy. So Carolina beats the Montreal Canadiens in 5 games. The Vegas Golden Knights sweep the Colorado Avalanche. And we now have our Stanley Cup Final set. Game 1 on Tuesday, I will be live streaming Hurricanes Golden Knights from the Lenovo Center at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. What a series it's going to be, and we got ourselves our Stanley Cup Final matchup. So, let you guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments section below. I thank you all for streaming for my video, and if you guys can and you do view this video afterwards, leave a subscribe and try and get us to 100 subscribers. It really does help with the channel. On top of that, also don't forget to stay tuned for more videos coming out in the very near future. We'll have some more videos coming out tomorrow, coming out Sunday, coming out next week. We're going to have some more off-season content, and plus we'll have a couple of live streams for the remaining playoff games in the Stanley Cup Final. I thank you guys all for your support. I thank you for tuning in for my live stream, and I can't wait to see you guys all for the next video. I do appreciate your support. God bless every single one of you guys. I'll see you all in the next one.